I'm pretending to cultivate immortality in kindergarten. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 176 Unexpected. With the encouragement of the dean and the applause of the class, Lin Zhengren and Fang Meng stood up and went out of the classroom together. A certain second lady opened her cold eyes in disbelief. She had never thought that Fang Meng and Lin Zhengren would have such a relationship. She always felt that they were not familiar with each other. Fang Meng and Lin Zhengren looked at the dean and the head teacher outside the classroom. The dean was very enthusiastic. Although most people did not like the position of dean, the dean seemed to smile every time he talked to Lin Zhengren since he entered high school. The school has always been the first in the grade. Student Lin Zhengren, I didn't expect that you are not only good at studying, but also so capable and courageous. The school is really proud of you. It's just that the college entrance examination is coming soon. The teachers of the school unanimously believe that your speech on stage will have the best effect and can boost everyone's morale. Lin Zhengren was accustomed to this. The dean praised Lin Zhengren a few more times and left for something. He said that he would seriously praise Lin Zhengren at a mobilization meeting before the college entrance examination. Of course, before leaving, he also said to Fang Meng, Fang Meng's grades are also excellent, and his vision is good. Fang Meng, huh? After he left, the head teacher waited until the other party disappeared, then he let out a long breath and suddenly laughed. Did you understand what you meant by the last two sentences? You too. Fang Meng looked at the head teacher. The head teacher smiled and said, fortunately, it was Lin Zhengren and Fang Meng who were on the news this time, and it was positive news about their bravery. Otherwise, the school would have dealt with premature love affairs seriously, and the school would not have criticized you too openly this time. The college entrance examination is coming soon, so you two should pay more attention to it and don't let it affect your test scores. However, when you give a speech at the meeting to praise them, the wording will be changed to Lin Zhengren and his friends went out to play, and the criminals were arrested for their bravery. No other things will be mentioned. Seeing what the two wanted to say, the head teacher asked curiously in advance, of course, you two may not be in a real boyfriend-girlfriend relationship? The teacher doesn't understand that either, and this kind of thing is not important. Just let it go. Don't let other things affect the college entrance examination. Lin Zhengren and Fang Meng looked at each other and nodded. Head teacher, then you can go back. The two were about to return to the classroom when the head teacher called Lin Zhengren alone. Lin Zhengren asked, is there anything else, teacher? The head teacher laughed and said kindly, nothing, I just want to ask you about your university application. Do you want to change it? Lin Zhengren shook his head. No, it's the one I said before. The head teacher nodded. Okay, I understand. Lin Zhengren and Fang Meng went back, and the head teacher stood in the corridor and looked at Lin Zhengren's back. After all, she had taught these children for more than 3 years, and she knew how popular Lin Zhengren was. If it weren't for her identity as a teacher that prevented her from gossiping, she would really be curious about what Lin Zhengren had experienced with these girls. After Lin Zhengren and Fang Meng returned to the classroom, Lin Zhengren sat down. Fang Meng noticed the students' curiosity about her, and also saw Jiang Jin looking at her unexpectedly. The former besties looked at each other in silence, not knowing what each other was thinking. In the next class, there was a lot of discussion during the break. Jiang Zuli was in distress while tittering, and Han Wenwen and He Qing wanted to go to the bathroom together. As a result, people in the class were heard saying, have you heard? Last week, Lin Zhengren from the next class bravely stepped forward to help the police subdue the gangster. Classmate A acted out the story with his hands. I heard it. I heard that the gangster was 1.7 meters tall, with a half-meter-long scar on his face, and Lin Zhengren held him down by himself. Passerby B slammed the table and retorted, isn't that right? I heard that the gangster was 1.8 meters tall. He was muscular and had a knife in his hand. The police didn't dare to attack easily, but he was held down by Lin Zhengren in one fell swoop. Supporting actor C spitted, what version of your story is this? It's pure nonsense, isn't it? The gangster was only about 1.6 meters tall and not that strong, but he did have weapons in his hands. I heard that he was holding a Gatling gun and a cannon. Wow, Lin Zhengren took away his weapons. Many people discussed it continuously. Is it true? Is it so amazing? I heard that armed helicopters have entered the scene, as well as tanks and so on. Some people even saw Lin Sehengren driving a transformer. Crowd G, the rumors are getting more and more outrageous. Did the school's official account post a video? It's just a simple video of the gangster being pinned to the wall. But I think it's really impressive. Lin Sehengren, who is so big, pinned him down with one hand. These discussions made He Qing and Han Wenwen stop and look at each other. Even Zhang Zuli, who was doing her homework, raised her head after hearing it and asked curiously. Little He Qing asked in a low voice, "What are you talking about?" "What transformers?" A female classmate saw that it was He Qing and her friends and replied, "Don't you know? Aren't you three with Lin Sehengren all day? He was brave last week and helped the police subdue the gangster when he was dating his girlfriend." The video is on the school's official account. It's so cool. Little He Qing, Han Wenwen and Zhang Zuli were very happy when they heard others praising Lin Sehengren. Little He Qing opened her innocent eyes wide. Lin Sehengren is so amazing. "Did it happen last week?" Zhang Zuli exclaimed. "Sehengren subdued the gangster," the female classmate said. "Yes, it was last weekend." And then, Han Wenwen also laughed, but soon she suddenly found a key point that was skipped in a sentence. "Wait, what did you say, female classmate?" "I said subduing the gangster, didn't I say it several times?" Han Wenwen added, pointing to the top. "Not this sentence, it's the previous sentence. You said Lin Sehengren dated his girlfriend? And then subdued the gangster, female classmate." "Yes, there's a video." Han Wenwen's words made the smiles of Little He Qing and Zhang Zuli stop on their faces. The two looked at each other, then shook their heads and said in unison, "Not with me." Han Wenwen's keen sixth sense trembled. The little fox took out his mobile phone from his pocket, flipped through the school's official account, and found a video of the heroic act on it. "I found a video. Let's watch it together." The three families gathered together to check what was going on. The video was from the police's perspective, and the characters were all mosaiced. But the three girls who were familiar with Lin Sehengren's temperament and figure recognized him at once, and said in unison, "This is Lin Sehengren, this is Sehengren, this is classmate Lin Sehengren. And this place is KTV?" Classmate Lin Sehengren went to sing last week. After Lin Sehengren in the video pressed the gangster against the wall with one hand, the three girls exclaimed that it was amazing, and then a girl wearing a thin coat, a pure white long-sleeved pleated skirt and a mosaic on her face walked over in the video. The three girls became alert. The girl walked to Lin Sehengren, grabbed his arm and asked with concern, "Are you okay? What happened?" The picture ended here, and the text broadcast was followed. The girl appeared for a very short time, and the mosaic was also very heavy, so her appearance could not be seen at all. But that dress and that voice. The three girls looked at each other and thought for a moment, and said at the same time, "Is it Feng Meng?" After the unified identification, the three of them stared at the screen again. Each of them was embarrassed and jealous. They all wanted to know what was going on. Chapter 177. Huge amount of information. At lunchtime, as the teacher said get out of class dismissed, the students sat up tiredly one by one and went to the cafeteria to eat while talking about random things. Zhang Jin also got up and went to the cafeteria. Only Feng Meng and Lin Sehengren were still sitting there. This morning, since the dean talked about the incident of bravery in the morning, every time there was a break, there were always many students, especially many girls, who came to ask Feng Meng what happened. But no one asked Lin Sehengren, because Zhang Jin was by his side. In the past 3 years, everyone in the class knew that the deputy monitor liked the monitor, at least that's what everyone thought, and the relationship between the two monitors was very subtle. "What's the situation, Feng Meng? When did you get together with the monitor?" "Yes, Feng Meng, you intercepted the deputy monitor. Have you two dated many times? How far have you progressed? Have you kissed? Or are you already in that kind of relationship? Does the monitor usually act coquettishly with you? I envy you so much, Feng Meng." The messy questions gave Feng Meng a headache, although she kept emphasizing that we were not on that kind of relationship. But some strange questions made her blush, and when she blushed, no one would believe that they were just in a casual relationship. At most, everyone thought that it was inconvenient to talk about such things in school, and the teacher might have warned them just now. But after all, there are videos on the official account, and Feng Meng in the video is very close to Lin Sehengren, so even if she doesn't admit it, everyone still thinks that the two are together. Those messy questions made Zhang Jin, who was leaning against the wall, look tense, and she always clenched her fingers unconsciously. Feng Meng also noticed Zhang Jin's reaction. Sighing in her heart, she lamented that things were getting more and more troublesome. Can they really make up? At this moment, after school at noon, Jiang Jin left the classroom like a thorny iceberg snow lotus. Feng Meng kept staring at Jiang Jin's figure leaving, helplessly lying on the table with her hands and burying her face in her arms. It's over, she said to herself. Lin's Hengren didn't look back, but glanced outside the classroom. The three little guys hadn't come yet, and it seemed that the get out of class was not over yet. Feng Meng raised her head slightly and looked at Lin's Hengren. Classmate Lin's Hengren? Why haven't you gone to eat yet, Lin's Hengren? Waiting for someone. Waiting for those three guys to finish class. Feng Meng thought of the three beautiful girls in the next class. By the way, everyone knows about your heroic act now. I guess those three girls know about it too. I'm sorry, I've implicated you. If you need me to testify for you, I can do it anytime. In fact, Lin's Hengren guessed what those three guys would do since the head teacher said that in the morning. Helpless, thank you, but it's okay. Anyway, we are not a real couple, so I can explain it. But you, when are you going to confess to Jiang Jin? You've sung songs and drank wine, you should have the courage, right? Feng Meng lowered her head and stared at the table. Tonight, although there is another accident, but tonight is fine. I'll talk to Kaianqian. Life or death is just like that. She stood up and went to the cafeteria. I'm going to eat. Well, goodbye. Feng Meng walked to the door and suddenly asked another question. By the way, I'm still very curious about which of the three of them is your girlfriend? At first I thought it was He Qing, but later when I investigated, I found that Jiang Zuli seemed to be very close to you. Han Wenwen's words were not so clear, but I always felt that the girl was unfathomable, like a fox. Feng Meng casually said the truth that she herself thought was impossible. You said before that you didn't have two relationships at the same time. Does that mean that you are now having three relationships at the same time? Lin's Hengren turned his head and glanced at Feng Meng. The two stared at each other again, looking into each other's eyes. I don't know how many times they stared at each other for such a long time. In the past, Feng Meng always had a blank expression on her face, but this time, after experiencing the KTV incident, she suddenly remembered the side face of Lin's Hengren comforting her when he sang. She blushed when he stared at her, and turned away shyly. Just pretend I didn't say anything. I don't think you would do such a thing. This matter has nothing to do with me. I'm going to eat. If you need me to explain, just come to me at any time. In addition, I also remember that I owe you a favor. Feng Meng left the classroom and walked through the corridor, but her hand slowly grabbed her chest. Her heartbeat accelerated for no reason. I don't understand what's going on. Maybe I didn't sleep well last night, so my heart rate beats very fast. It's normal, it's normal. After a while, the third class finally finished at noon. In the lively crowd going to the cafeteria, He Qing, Jiang Zuli, and Han Wenwen appeared together at the door of Lin's Hengren's classroom. The three Yujia's eyes were burning, as if they all had something to say to someone. Lin's Hengren in the classroom stood up in shame and happily accepted what might happen next. As expected, when the four of them left the teaching building, He Qing lowered her head with her hands in front of her, Jiang Zuli put her hands behind her back and pursed her lips, and Han Wenwen held He Qing's arm and looked at Lin's Hengren from time to time. Each of them had their own little movements. Lin's Hengren took the initiative to say, "Do you three know what happened last week?" The three of them were stunned and looked at Lin's Hengren. They even praised him first. Little He Qing whispered, "I saw it. Lin's Hengren, you are so handsome for being brave and righteous." Jiang Zuli, "It's amazing. You held it down by yourself. I thought it was very handsome when I saw the video." Han Wenwen smiled and said, "There are a lot more little fans of Lin's Hengren in the school. It is unknown whether the little fox's words were a compliment." However, after he finished speaking, the three of them stopped talking immediately and waited for Lin's Hengren to speak. Lin's Hengren didn't beat around the bush and said, "I just helped her last week. She took care of my mom, so I returned the favor. I don't have the kind of relationship with her that the news said. Don't you three believe me?" Han Wenwen, "Take care of mom." Jiang Zuli, "Return the favor." He Qing, "That's a lot of information. Does she know any uncles or aunts who have been to your house?" Lin's Hengren, "It seems that this matter can't be explained clearly in just a few words." Han Wenwen smiled meaningfully. Jiang Zuli turned her head and snorted proudly, and only He Qing said timidly and pitifully, "Okay, I believe that you two are not together. I believe you for everything, but I can only believe a little bit about this matter, because Lin's Hengren, you won't be alone with a girl you hate, right? And your shortcoming of being a playboy is not just 1 or 2 days. You have been like this since you were a child. You like to play with pretty girls and then hook the girls' hearts. Lin Hengren felt that this was so strange, and when was he a playboy when he was a child? Why didn't he remember? Zhang Zuli said proudly, I also think that you start to flirt with pretty girls as soon as I'm not looking at you. Are you addicted to it? You're a playboy, she said the second half of the sentence in her heart. The two are still not satisfied. Han Wenwen said immediately, in short, classmate Lin Hengren, this kind of rumored girlfriend incident can't be perfunctorily passed over with just a few words. In addition, your words just now revealed too much information. It's not easy to explain in front of Lily and Xiao Qingqing. It's better to explain it alone, and it's clearer. Zhang Zuli and He Qing nodded when they heard this. They also thought it would be better to explain it alone. First, everyone wanted to be alone with Lin Hengren, and secondly, they all felt that this kind of thing must be kissed and hugged to get over it, right? It's not easy to solve the problem just by talking. Han Wenwen smiled. See, everyone thinks so. She said this for Lin Hengren's consideration, and it was considered to take the initiative to temporarily help Lin Hengren avoid this incident. But there are a lot of things to dig into that simple sentence. So once they have the chance to be alone, the little fox must ask Fang Meng about everything that happened between her and Brothers Hengren. Brothers Hengren said that they were not boyfriend and girlfriend, and Han Wenwen believed it. But Han Wenwen had a strong premonition just now, that Fang Meng might have started to like Brothers Hengren. Seeing that everyone had the same idea, Lin Hengren nodded in agreement. Okay, then let's talk about this in detail when we are alone together. The three nodded. Zhang Zuli suggested, let's do it this afternoon. It happens that both of our classes have physical education classes this afternoon. Then, He Qing and I will separate and talk to Hengren alone. How about it? Little He Qing nodded. Okay. Zhang Zuli and Little He Qing both had their own ideas in mind. Han Wenwen also had one. Chapter 178 Any request is acceptable. After agreeing to discuss it in detail in the afternoon physical education class, the four of them went to the cafeteria to eat. Although the news about Lin Hengren made the three little ones jealous, they still served him food when they should. They handed him water when they should. He would not say that he was unhappy all the time. After all, Lin Hengren had at least explained the general cause and effect. Although the detailed reasons were not explained, they did not hide them. The three little ones also believed Lin Hengren completely and knew that if he said he was not dating, he was not dating. If he was dating another person, he would definitely tell him directly. After lunch, everyone returned to the classroom early to study. In order to go to the same university next year, Han Wenwen, He Qing and Zhang Zuli really worked very hard this year. Except for the weekends with Lin Hengren, they used all the other time for study. After the four of them returned to the teaching building and said goodbye, Lin Hengren went to the bathroom. When he came out, he unexpectedly saw Zhang Jin, who had long black hair and looked cold, standing outside the bathroom waiting for him. When she saw Lin Hengren coming out, her cold eyes were slightly moved. Squad leader, do you have time? I want to talk to you. Lin Hengren probably guessed what they were going to talk about. Before she could say anything, Zhang Jin took out a bank card from her bosom. I know your time is precious, so I'll buy you 5 minutes. There is 20,000 yuan in the card. Although I may not be able to afford it, this is all my pocket money this week. It's all here, 20,000 yuan. My time is really valuable in your eyes, Lin Hengren sighed. Zhang Jin explained, I'm afraid you will refuse me. After all, the things I ask may be boring to you. Lin Hengren turned and left. Zhang Jin looked at Lin Hengren. I thought he was unwilling, but Lin Hengren said, let's find a place to talk. The sooner this matter is over, the better. Since Lin Hengren was involved, he also wanted to solve the matter as soon as possible. Just treat it as helping a friend and eating the system reward by the way. It seems that now whenever I do something, the system will basically give a summary at the end, which is different from the previous mode that popped up first. Zhang Jin hummed in surprise and followed him. There was no quiet place in the school at noon. There were people everywhere, except for the piano room on the first floor. Lin Hengren, a senior in high school, didn't come here very often, but whenever he had nowhere to go in his freshman and sophomore years, he would stay here with the three little ones. A few times, Han Wenwen even clamored to listen to Lin Hengren play the piano. After Lin Hengren played, the little fox kept clapping his hands in admiration. Great, great. You are worthy of being classmate Lin Hengren. Now that Lin Hengren and Zhang Jin came to the piano room, He wanted to find a place to sit down. Lin's Hengren, go ahead. Jiang Jin always spoke quickly except when she was emotional. Have you slept with Fang Meng? Lin's Hengren's movement to sit down suddenly froze. He turned back and looked at the serious Jiang Jin blankly. Where did you get this idea? Jiang Jin looked at Lin's Hengren expressionlessly. I also thought of it when I watched that video at lunch. After all, KTV is a place where people do the kind of thing, right? It is said that there are condoms and the like inside. Since you have been there, you must have done that kind of thing. Lin's Hengren had cold sweat on his forehead. Where did you learn this weird knowledge? KTV is just a place for singing. Jiang Jin was honest. I know it is used for singing on the surface. Although I have never been there, I have read various famous books and film and television works. KTVs are not only for criminals, but also for men and women to do the kind of thing. There are no exceptions. There are also bars, internet cafes, underground private gatherings, etc. Lin's Hengren sat down speechlessly. You have been poisoned by film and television works, right? Those are all film and television effects. Normal KTVs are simply used for singing, and there are no criminals, really? But how do you explain that you subdued the criminal in there last week? Lin's Hengren, don't say. This is the first time that Lin's Hengren has encountered such a low probability event. It is not common in real life for the police to arrest people. He let out a long breath. It's just a low probability event. Low probability events cannot be used as a standard for evaluating something. This was even tested in the elementary school exam. Jiang Jin sat in front of Lin's Hengren. Well, it's true, but it's okay to sleep with her. Fang Meng is already 18 years old anyway. She has her own freedom. I'm just a little surprised that Xiao Meng got pregnant so early. Lin's Hengren looked at Jiang Jin with disdain. What the hell are you talking about? Did you hear what I said? I heard it, but you didn't say or do it just now. You used other topics to perfunctorily pass it over. Outrageous. I didn't do that kind of thing with her, and even if I did, didn't you get full marks in junior high school biology? Didn't you learn the chapter on fertility knowledge? Pregnancy is also a low probability event. Jiang Jin opened her eyes wide in surprise. Pregnancy is a low probability event? I really don't know. I learned junior high school biology, but the chapter on sex knowledge is only 2 pages, and the teacher skipped it and said that it wouldn't be tested, so he didn't talk about it and asked me to learn it by myself, so I only know a rough idea. Lin's Hengren commented that there is still a long way to go for domestic sex education. Most schools do allow students to study on their own, but it was a bit unexpected that Jiang Jin could be so pure. She really spent all her time on formal studies. Seeing Lin's Hengren staring at her like this, Jiang Jin confirmed, so, you really haven't done it? No, and she and I are not boyfriend and girlfriend. We are just ordinary friends. Really? Even boyfriend and girlfriend is a rumor? Then have you done it with other girls in our school? No. So why did she answer this question? Jiang Jin was very surprised, and then suddenly smiled, and she didn't know why she felt inexplicably happy. Lin's Hengren was puzzled. Why are you so happy? Jiang Jin was puzzled, and her smile disappeared. What, happy? Am I happy? Lin's Hengren sighed speechlessly. You came to me just to ask if Fang Meng and I had sex. Jiang Jin's expression changed, and her voice was no longer so cold. It's just one of them. After all, in my eyes, I thought you two were unfamiliar with each other, but I didn't expect it to be a bit beyond my expectation. Lin's Hengren didn't say anything. Jiang Jin clenched her slender fingers into a fist, still looking at Lin's Hengren. I came to you today. The main reason is that I want to talk to you about Fang Meng and me. Although our problem has nothing to do with you, I can't solve this problem by myself. It has also affected my recent studies and sleep. I haven't slept well for several days. After thinking about it, I feel that only you can give me advice. Can you listen to our problem? As a reward, you can make any request. Any request is fine. Lin's Hengren inexplicably thought of Fang Meng and felt that these two best friends were really alike. They both agreed to any request, except going to bed. He imitated Fang Meng's words and said casually, any request is fine except going to bed. Jiang Jin was surprised that Lin's Hengren would say this to her. After reacting, she blushed and said, go to bed? Do you mean you want me to be your girlfriend? This request is a bit big. I have to think about it, because I didn't expect you to make such a request, but you are the only boy I don't dislike. She paused. Okay, we can try to talk. Chapter 179. A different kind of good guy card. Jiang Jin was very serious. Then from now on I am your girlfriend. We can have sex anytime, because I am also curious about what it feels like to have sex with a boy. According to the book, exploring the origin of mankind should be very interesting, but the premise is that you have to marry me. I can only accept doing that kind of thing with my own husband. After marriage, I can support you, but the premise is that you can't cheat. Stop. Lin Zhengren raised his hand. What nonsense are you talking about? When did I confess to you? Zheng Jin looked at Lin Zhengren and helped him recall. Just now, I asked you to make a request, and you said you wanted to have sex with me. Isn't this a confession? I agreed, but the premise is that you have to marry me. Stop again. He looked helpless. Didn't I say that just now? I said that everything is fine except sex. Zheng Jin nodded. Yes, but just now you were asking a question. You asked me if I could do anything except sex? And my answer is, sex is fine, but the premise is that you have to marry me. Lin Zhengren interrupted. So the autonomy is in my hands, right? I don't have any intention of sleeping with you at the moment, and the reward I want is not this kind of thing, and I haven't mentioned what my requirements are yet. Zheng Jin was in a daze and didn't quite understand. Why? I think sleeping with me is the top requirement of all the requirements. My figure and appearance don't make you desire it? But there are quite a lot of boys who confess to me. I think they shouldn't just be perfunctory when they say I'm beautiful. I have always maintained my figure, and I even still have a C cup. The male gene made Lin Zhengren subconsciously glance at a certain place. He really didn't care about this matter at ordinary times, but Zheng Jin has always had a good figure. He just didn't expect that the other party would hit the straight ball so vigorously. What are we talking about? To be honest, I still have desire for you. Many people like long black straight hair, but it doesn't mean that you are beautiful. My requirement is to sleep with you, and I have a girlfriend. Zheng Jin felt a little weird in the first half of the sentence, but she was obviously sad in the second half and half lowered her head. I know, but you still have the right to choose your spouse before getting married, right? Lovers are lovers, and husband and wife are husband and wife. Lovers can change, but husband and wife cannot, and I have obviously agreed. From childhood to adulthood, there are at least 100 boys who have confessed to me, and you are the only one I agree to. Seeing her expression change, Lin Zhengren asked a curious question. Zheng Jin, do you like me? Zheng Jin's face turned slightly red, her pupils moved, and she looked away. No, I don't like you, she corrected her wording. I should say it's not to the extent of liking you. I just think you are a good person and I care about you a little, so I think it's okay to marry you. What Zheng Jin said was what was in her heart. The main reason was that she didn't know what love was at all, and she had never liked anyone. Lin Zhengren blinked his eyes. Really? Anyway, I can agree to your request, but my reward is not to make you my girlfriend, nor to sleep with you. I will have other requests, but I haven't thought about it yet. Zheng Jin looked at Lin Zhengren and had to accept the reality. Okay. Then I owe you a big favor today, and I will definitely pay you back in the future. Before you give it to someone else for the first time, if you want to sleep with me and get married, it's fine. I will agree at any time. Lin Zhengren laughed and stopped talking about it. Got it, tell me about you and Fang Meng. Isn't this the main point of your visit to me today? Zheng Jin hummed. Fang Meng and I met in the second grade of elementary school. Although the story is roughly the same, Lin Zhengren is very clear that when humans describe memories, they will tell it from their own perspective. The same story is different for everyone. So as long as you hear the focus of their memories from the two mouths, you can understand the result of this conflict in advance. Sure enough, it is the same as Lin Zhengren imagined. Zheng Jin was sincere to Fang Meng and treated her as a friend, but she was really sad when she asked Fang Meng, if I hadn't lent you the money first, would you have lent it to me if something happened to my family today? This matter had even been hidden in her heart for so many years. Until the point that triggered the conflict was a year ago. Zheng Jin said. A year ago, Fang Meng's parents came to my house as guests. My parents were there at the time. We talked about college choices. I said that my choice was Stanford, and Fang Meng's parents said that Fang Meng's choice had always been Tsinghua when she was a child. Then, Zheng Jin recalled, Fang Meng was not in the living room when I asked this question. I don't remember what she was busy with. I only remember that when I asked her about her choice later, she said that since I was going to Stanford, she also wanted to work hard with us. At that time, I suddenly realized that I may have been delaying her freedom for so many years. Lin Zhengren sighed that the two of them were really casual, as if they could choose Stanford and Tsinghua at will. So you started to give Fang Meng frequent holidays a year ago? Until the last time you two had a complete quarrel, the matter ended just like that. Zhang Jin seemed a little regretful. Well, actually I told her very clearly in the car that day. I just didn't want to affect her life. I didn't mean anything else, but I don't know why it turned out like this. I no longer cared about what happened back then. Really? Lin Zhangren questioned. You really don't care now? If you don't care, why do you keep bringing it up? Zhang Jin put her hands on her knees and clenched her fists. Lin Zhangren sighed. Weren't you quite straightforward just now? How come you can't think clearly about this matter? Since you still care about what happened back then, just make it clear. Tell her how sad you were at that time and ask her why she didn't just answer you directly at that time, but told Fang Meng directly. Zhang Jin didn't quite understand, but asking this will lead to a quarrel, right? Aren't they still quarreling now? Some things are useless to hide. Sooner or later they will become a fuse. It's best to make it clear, even if it means quarreling. Besides, isn't it normal for best friends to quarrel? And you misunderstood something. Although Fang Meng may feel guilty about you, I think she wants to go to Stanford with you simply because she wants to be with you. It has nothing to do with the past, because people's aspirations will change. Fang Meng wanted to go to Tsinghua before, but now she may not want to. She really wants to go to school with you, but you think it is you who influenced her and you don't want her to go to her. Isn't it a problem that itself is affecting? She just thinks that you want to be separated from her. Zhang Jin seemed to listen very seriously and had a sense of enlightenment. Lin Zhangren asked, do you understand this? Actually, it's a very simple thing. Well, as soon as you say that, I understand what Fang Meng is thinking. Sure enough, it's right to look for you, because you seem to know clearly what everyone is thinking in your heart. Lin Zhangren smiled perfunctorily. He thought to himself that he wasn't all of you coming to talk to me? Zhang Jin was more direct than Fang Meng. I'll talk to her carefully this afternoon. Well, that's the best. Lin Zhangren took out his cell phone and looked at the time. It was almost time for class. Then that's it? I've talked for a long time and it's time to go back. When Zhang Jin saw Lin Zhangren stand up, she slowly spoke with red lips. Thank you. It turns out that you are different from others. You are a good person. She had a slightly blush on her face and a slight smile on her lips. Chapter 180 Fang Meng in the Sports Warehouse. A few minutes before class, Lin Zhangren and Zhang Jin returned to the classroom from the piano room. When they were walking up the stairs, they unexpectedly met Han Wenwen and He Qing, who were returning to the classroom from the bathroom. The two best friends held hands and looked down at Lin Zhangren and Zhang Jin, who were walking side by side on the stairs. Zhang Jin and Lin Zhangren looked up at the little fox and little He Qing. When their eyes met, they were all a little stunned. Han Wenwen narrowed her eyes, smiled inexplicably and said, Lin Zhangren, classmate, is never going to stop. The bell rang. The physical education classes in the afternoon were the third and fourth classes. Before the physical education class, the physical education teacher came to the classroom and said that there would be physical test simulations in these two classes. Let the physical education committee count the number of people, and let the boys and girls select a few people to go to the physical education warehouse to move things. Lin Zhangren, as the class monitor, led a group of boys. Since Zhang Jin needed to count the number of people, Fang Meng took the female representative to get things. The two groups went to the large warehouse behind the playground and found the sports equipment needed for the physical test. While moving things, Fang Meng walked up to Lin Zhangren. What did you do at noon? I saw you came back with Qianqian. Seeing Fang Meng asking, Lin Zhangren replied, she talked to me. What did we talk about? Everything, mostly sexual knowledge. Fang Meng's pupils were slightly stunned. Huh? Did I hear it wrong? What knowledge? Lin Zhangren directed everyone to take other things. After speaking, he said calmly, it doesn't matter. Anyway, you two can talk about it this afternoon and it will be over. Well, then I know what you are talking about. Seeing Lin Zhangren was about to leave, she grabbed Lin Zhangren's clothes. After today, Qianqian and I won't break up, right? Lin Zhangren turned around and looked at Fang Meng, and said as a matter of course. Fang Meng also laughed, and her heart was relieved. All the sports equipment was placed on the playground. Unexpectedly, Xiao Heking's class did not come to the playground. Lin Zhangren could only understand that their physical education teacher was sick, and the class was occupied by other teachers, or there was some course that was not finished. Although the physical education teacher of all the classes in the third year of high school is the same person. At this moment, The physical education teacher was talking about the precautions for the physical test for senior high school students. He said that although the physical test for senior high school students will not affect the college entrance examination or university admission, it should be taken seriously. Because some very special schools will also look at the results of the physical test, and failing the physical test will also affect the high school diploma. Physical education teacher, then let Lin Hengren and Zhang Jin, let our class monitor and deputy class monitor set an example for everyone. She saw Zhang Jin taking notes. Forget it, the deputy class monitor is busy. Let Lin Hengren and Fang Meng set an example. Lin Hengren and Fang Meng came out of the team. Physical education teacher, they will do all the items. During the process, I will tell you some key points. You must remember them. If you still don't understand after reading it once, ask me again. Of course, they are all very simple. In the simple rehearsal process, Lin Hengren and Fang Meng's results were very good, and their movements were very formal. The pay teacher clapped his hands to everyone. Not bad, especially Lin Hengren. The class monitor is the class monitor, both in terms of grades and physical fitness. Let's start, shall we? Everyone give it a try. After saying that, the pay teacher was adjusting a tester when he suddenly found that a small part was broken. After a while of trying to fix it, he saw Fang Meng on the side. Fang Meng, go to the warehouse and get me the spare parts of this tester. It should be in the corner of the warehouse. Fang Meng nodded. Okay, teacher. She ran to the pay warehouse in the distance. There were a lot of things in the pay warehouse. As soon as she entered, there were a lot of large and small equipment and mats, which seemed particularly crowded. Fang Meng went into the corner to look for spare parts, and sure enough, she saw a lot of them in a big box. She bent down and flipped through the instrument accessories that the teacher mentioned. Who knew that after getting it, she stood up and heard a crackling sound. A hole was torn in her shirt by the iron sheet on the edge of the box. And the hole was not small, it was torn directly from the bottom to above the belly button. Fang Meng looked at her shirt in panic, thinking what was going on? My clothes. She wanted to put down the spare parts and check her clothes, but when she turned around, the patch on the right side of her pants tore again, exposing her thigh. Fang Meng was so scared that she checked the exposed thigh and the edge of her underwear again, and covered her pants quickly. What's going on? When she bent down to cover her pants, she accidentally touched a cabinet. The loose objects and various cushions on the cabinet were shaking. Fang Meng heard the sound of objects sliding down from the top of the cabinet and looked back. Her eyes widened, and she saw that many things on the top of the cabinet fell down at once. She fell to the ground, accompanied by the continuous tearing sound of clothes. On the playground outside, the physical education teacher continued to tinker with the instrument while Fang Meng was still not back. After tinkering with it for a while, the broken tester was unexpectedly repaired. He was overjoyed. It's fixed. No need to change parts. He arranged for everyone to continue using it, but Lin Hengren looked at the physical education warehouse in the distance, wondering why Fang Meng hadn't come back yet. It took so long to find a part for an instrument? Anyway, Lin Hengren had finished the simulation, so he suggested, Teacher, since we don't need to get the parts, I'll go tell Fang Meng that she doesn't need to get anything. The physical education teacher agreed casually. Okay, you go, but Fang Meng is really slow to come back. How long has it been since she came back? Lin Hengren went to the physical education warehouse to check. At first, he didn't see anyone inside from a distance, but as soon as he stepped into the warehouse, he heard a very stern warning from inside. Who? Don't come in first. The voice was full of vigilance, and even the tone became very fierce, but Lin Hengren still recognized the tone of the speaker. Fang Meng. Fang Meng's fierce voice softened when he heard that it was Lin Hengren. He no longer felt so threatened, as if he had seen a savior. Student Lin Hengren? Is it Student Lin Hengren? Don't come over now. Help me close the door of the warehouse first. My clothes are torn. Lin Hengren was puzzled, but he still closed the door of the warehouse temporarily. The door is closed. Where is your clothes torn? Everywhere is torn. Huh? Lin Hengren walked over and turned around to see Fang Meng squatting in the corner, holding a wooden board to cover her body, with only half of her head exposed. The surroundings were in a mess, with large and small things falling to the ground. Fang Meng blushed and said, How did you get here? Didn't I say it was all torn? Because Lin Hengren was tall and had a special physique, even though the other party used a wooden board to cover his body and it was dark in the corner, Lin Hengren could still vaguely see that Fang Meng's pants had a big hole torn. The edge of the pink panties was clearly visible, and the edge of the underwear was also visible. Lin Zhengren was puzzled. What did you do? How did you tear the clothes like this? Even the underwear is visible. Feng Meng blushed and threw a small cushion over, and Lin Zhengren caught it casually. You can see this. Feng Meng didn't understand. I don't know what happened. I just came to get something, but my shirt was torn by the box. When I turned around, my pants were also torn. Then something on the cabinet fell and I fell to the ground. The torn area became bigger, and it became like this. I can cover my body when I squat, but once I stand up, I can't cover anything. Lin Zhengren heard it outrageous. Is it true? How can such a thing happen? This is so unlucky. How should I know? Please help me keep an eye on others. If someone sees me like this, I will be embarrassed today. I've seen it, Feng Meng shyly said subconsciously. It's okay if you see it, but others can't see it. Then I can't keep watching you here, can I? I'll ask someone to go to the girls' dormitory to get clothes for you. She was curious. How can I get clothes if I don't live in the dormitory? Lin Zhengren remembered this. That's right, you and Jiang Jin are both commuting students. Don't you have drivers? Ask the driver to take you. I quit. I'm not the assistant of the Jiang family anymore. Then let Jiang Jin find a driver to take it to you. Feng Meng felt that this was the only way. She said, my phone is out of battery. Lend me your phone and I'll talk to Kaianqian. Lin Zhengren laughed. It's ridiculous that the phone is out of battery. He was about to take out his phone. Suddenly, a rat's chirping sound came from the corner of the warehouse. Feng Meng looked back and found that a little mouse was not far away from her and was running towards her. She was so scared that she quickly threw down the wooden board and ran to Lin Zhengren, grabbing his arm and burying her face in his clothes. Ah! There's a rat here. Chapter 181. Why are you two doing this without even locking the door? The mouse panicked when seeing humans, and normal mice would run away, but it was inexplicably very arrogant. With its strong character, it didn't run away but squeaked and ran towards Feng Meng. Feng Meng's face turned pale with fear, and he stuck closer to Lin Zhengren, and as a result, the little mouse was kicked away by Lin Zhengren. It slid in a graceful arc in the air and disappeared in the warehouse. He looked at Feng Meng, whose face was buried in his arms. It has disappeared. Are you afraid of mice? I remember you practiced martial arts. Feng Meng looked back and saw that the mouse had disappeared. His trembling heart finally breathed a sigh of relief and responded, after practicing martial arts, you are not afraid of mice anymore? Everyone has something they are afraid of. Lin Zhengren looked at Feng Meng and his eyes unconsciously moved down. When Feng Meng stood up, he saw that the big hole in his pants had opened and his underwear was clearly exposed. It was pink lace underwear, a very young style. The upper body was also pink underwear, which could be seen from the side. Feng Meng noticed Lin Zhengren's gaze, and shyly squatted down and pulled hard on her torn clothes. Rogue! Stop looking. Lin Zhengren was helpless. It was you who came to me, okay? How did I become a hooligan? Her voice became lower. Then you should stop looking. She also knew that this matter was caused by her. How about I get you my coat first? I hung it outside the warehouse when I came to move things before. Feng Meng raised her head slightly. Okay, thank you. Wait. After saying that, Lin Zhengren wanted to leave, but Feng Meng grabbed Lin Zhengren's trouser legs and reminded him worriedly, come back quickly, there are rats here, I'm scared. Lin Zhengren turned around and looked at the nervous Feng Meng, remembering that this guy always observed him expressionlessly for more than a year, just like Jiang Jin's Iron Guard, with no expression fluctuations. But recently, not only did she start to have expressions, but also blushing, fear, and worry, which are rare emotions, would appear on her face. Feng Meng was puzzled. Why don't you say anything? And what's that expression on your face? Lin Zhengren, it's okay, I was just thinking that we are getting closer and closer. Don't worry, I won't be going far and I'll be back soon. After that, he handed the phone to Feng Meng. Call Jiang Jin now and ask her to bring you some clothes to wear. Yeah, Feng Meng took the phone and squatted on the ground again, watching Lin Zhengren walk out of the warehouse, her cheeks flushed. Holding the phone, she muttered to herself, what does getting closer and closer mean? Some scenes of singing in the KTV last week reappeared in front of Feng Meng. Her heartbeat accelerated, and then she sighed silently. Try to make your heartbeat more stable and don't let your mind wander. Lin Zhengren walked out of the warehouse and found the coat hanging outside and returned. This scene was accidentally seen by Jiang Jin, who was counting the number of people on the playground. She looked at Lin Zhengren's strange behavior in the distant warehouse with a cold gaze. The physical education class had not yet ended. What was he doing with the coat that was placed there? And didn't he go to call Fang Meng? But after such a long time, Fang Meng not only did not show up, Lin Zhengren also returned to the warehouse many times. Jiang Jin was confused and unexpectedly thought of the rumored boyfriend and girlfriend. Although Lin Zhengren had already said that it was not the case, she found the physical education teacher. Teacher, I have almost remembered this item. I want to go to the bathroom. The physical education teacher took the statistics sheet. Okay, I will remember the other items, then you go. Thank you, teacher. Jiang Jin walked towards the physical education warehouse step by step. When she was about to reach the warehouse, she heard the phone vibrating in her pocket. Jiang Jin picked up the phone and saw that it was Lin Zhengren calling. She did not answer it, but walked sideways into the physical education warehouse through the gap in the door. She heard some noises coming from the corner. Fang Meng, did you bring your coat? Yes, but your coat is covered in dust and it's torn. Just throw it away now, otherwise it will dirty my clothes. Huh? What are you talking about? Anyway, it's torn like this, and you are still wearing underwear, right? What are you afraid of? Jiang Jin was stunned. Take off clothes? Did she just hear someone taking off clothes? She was holding a vibrating cell phone in her hand. She walked over, and after seeing something, she suddenly opened her eyes wide and was very dazed. Because she saw in the corner that Lin Zhengren seemed to have just taken off his coat. And Fang Meng had already taken off his shirt. Only his underwear was left on his upper body. His pants were tattered, and no one knew what the two were doing. Lin Zhengren and Fang Meng also noticed Jiang Jin, who suddenly appeared, and the three of them looked at each other. Jiang Jin was shocked, clenched her fists, and her face suddenly showed despair. You two are so hungry, that you plan to have sex here? You don't even close the door. Fang Meng quickly waved her hands. No, no, no. Qian, you misunderstood. We didn't. After some explanation, Jiang Jin believed it for the time being. So that's what happened. You mean you came to get something and your shirt got torn, then you turned around and your pants got torn again, and finally something on the cabinet fell down, causing the scratch to get bigger and bigger, and finally it became like this? Lin Zhengren saw it. Fang Meng was sitting on the side wearing Lin Zhengren's coat. Although it's ridiculous, it's like this. I don't know why I'm so unlucky. Seeing that Lin Zhengren's clothes were intact, Jiang Jin replied, okay, although it's ridiculous, I believe Xiao Meng's ridiculous description more than you two doing those things here without closing the door. Fang Meng looked up in confusion. What do you mean? Why don't I understand? Nothing. It means that in Jiang Jin's subconscious mind, Lin Zhengren and Fang Meng went to bed together, which she couldn't accept, so she could believe other reasons. At this moment, Fang Meng and Jiang Jin looked at each other. The two looked into each other's eyes, and seemed to remember the contradictions of the past few days. Lin Zhengren said, Jiang Jin, Fang Meng can't go out like this. Why don't you ask your driver to bring her 2 pieces of clothes? Jiang Jin nodded. I see. She quickly picked up her phone and found the driver's number. Before the call was connected, Fang Meng slowly said, thank you, Qian. Jiang Jin glanced at Fang Meng and smiled. You're welcome. Although you are no longer my assistant, we are still good friends. You're welcome for such a small thing. Fang Meng's pupils trembled slightly, and she looked up at Jiang Jin again in surprise. Jiang Jin told the driver about the clothes on the phone, and the driver said he would bring the clothes in 10 minutes. After hanging up the phone, Jiang Jin also sent a message, it will be here in 10 minutes, wait a moment. Fang Meng nodded. During the 10 minutes of waiting, it was unusually quiet. Fang Meng sat on a sports mat. Lin Zhengren and Jiang Jin stood opposite her. Lin Zhengren felt that the atmosphere was pretty good, and there was no need to wait until the afternoon. He said, I'm going to the door to get some fresh air. It's just right for a Fang Meng to watch over some people. You two stay here. He left the warehouse. Only Fang Meng and Jiang Jin were left in the corner. Both girls looked at Lin Zhengren, as if they knew what he meant. The two girlfriends looked at each other intentionally, and then after a brief hesitation, Jiang Jin and Fang Meng mustered up their courage to clench their fingers. They spoke almost at the same time. Qian, I'm sorry for what happened last time. Xiao Meng, I'm sorry for what happened last time. The two were stunned, looked at each other, and suddenly laughed. The only thing between girls is that they can't stop laughing once they start laughing. Jiang Jin and Fang Meng sat on the mat together. Both sides made their thoughts clear in front of each other. Chapter 182. Do you like Lin Zhengren, Xiao Meng? That day in the car, I didn't mean to stop you from going to study abroad with me. I just heard your uncle and aunt say that your dream was to go to Tsinghua University a year ago, so I said those words." Jiang Jin looked at Fang Meng. Fang Meng actually never had a good talk with Jiang Jin since elementary school. Jiang Jin has been cold and indifferent these years and doesn't want to talk to anyone. Until today, Fang Meng smiled. "What Tsinghua? I told my parents that when I was a child, right? I changed my mind when I was in junior high school. I always wanted to be with you." Jiang Jin smiled. Fang Meng said, "Also, I was a little angry in the car that day. I shouldn't be mean to you. I actually know that you treat me as a friend, but there were thousands of words that they wanted to say, but at this moment, the two of them didn't know what to say specifically." Fang Meng lowered his head. "In fact, our quarrel this time was still because of that incident that year. Qianqian, can we have a good talk about that incident?" "Well, to be honest today, when I asked you that question when I was fighting with someone, you didn't answer me. I was really angry." Fang Meng's pupils dilated. Jiang Jin recalled the past and looked straight ahead. "Although I haven't mentioned that matter over the years, I have always told myself not to care about those things, because your hesitation doesn't mean anything. But every time I think about it, I am still very sad." "You?" Jiang Jin's voice suddenly changed, frowning, and her voice was a little hoarse. "Why didn't you answer me? Even if you just nodded at the time, I felt that the things I did when I was a child were not so ridiculous. I always treated you as my best friend at that time." They could hesitate, but I didn't think you would. "But," Fang Meng gently grabbed Jiang Jin's clothes, tears in her eyes. "Qianqian, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I have regretted my hesitation many times over the years. I have always wanted to tell you that if I could do it again, I would definitely say I would help you. I didn't react at all at that time. I wanted to talk to you about that matter again countless times later, but no matter what I said," her tears fell, her voice trembled, and the hands pulling her clothes also trembled. "Every time I want to talk to you, I can see your eyes that hate and doubt me. I know that no matter what I say afterwards, I can't make you believe me, but I really always treat you as my best friend. How could I not help you?" Jiang Jin's eyes were red and she looked at Fang Meng and shed tears. Lin Zhengren, who was outside the sports warehouse, looked at the boys and girls who had just finished the simulated physical test and were playing and fighting on the playground. It must be said that having strong five senses is not all good. Sometimes Lin Zhengren didn't want to eavesdrop, but a little concentration can clearly hear the content. But no matter what, the conflict between the besties has come to an end today. After a while, in the corner of the sports warehouse, Fang Meng took out some toilet paper from the torn pocket of her clothes to wipe Jiang Jin's tears, and laughed. "I haven't seen you cry for a long time, Qianqian." Today Qianqian feels a bit like a child. The two besties sat there holding hands. Jiang Jin said, "In fact, I know that many of the things you have done over the years are because of me. My sister told me that you practiced martial arts during the holidays so that you could protect me in case someone fought with me, and that you studied medicine because I took you to the infirmary when you were a child." Fang Meng lowered her head a little embarrassedly. "Well, the eldest lady sometimes asks me about these things. Although I don't want to say it, many secrets cannot be kept by the eldest lady." Jiang Jin smiled and let out a long breath and suggested, "Be my assistant again, Xiaomeng. Without you during this period of time, many things have not gone smoothly for me. I can't sleep well and study well. Let alone surpass Lin Zhengren. I can't even surpass my previous self." Fang Meng smiled and nodded. "Well, but Qianqian, are you still trying to find Lin Zhengren's weaknesses? If you ask me, why not forget it? He is really a very special existence. According to my observations over the past year or so, Lin Zhengren is not a normal person. That is, he has no intention of becoming famous, otherwise he will be the best in everything he does. He can even think while sleeping." She smiled with relief. "Although I know it is impossible to make you give in." Jiang Jin thought of Lin Zhengren and her cheeks turned red. "In fact, after this quarrel with you, I realized that my curiosity about Lin Zhengren had changed a long time ago. In the past, I simply wanted to compete with him and surpass him. But ever since he taught me to play the piano that time, and the day before yesterday when I talked to him about you and me, although I didn't admit it before, I now feel that compared to his strength, I am more curious about him as a person." Jiang Jin's voice became very soft. "He makes me feel too familiar, just like me before, and at the same time, he is much more powerful than me. I don't know what kind of feeling I have towards him now. In short, I am very curious about everything about him and want to know everything about him. He even confessed to me yesterday, although he took it back in the end." Fang Meng was listening carefully, but suddenly a word in it surprised Fang Meng. "Wait, confession? What confession?" Zhang Jin explained. "It was when I wanted to talk to him about something yesterday and asked him to make a request. He suddenly mentioned that he could do anything except having sex. I thought he wanted me to be his girlfriend, and I thought I could still give it a try, so I agreed, but then he said he didn't mean that." "That's it." Fang Meng stared at Zhang Jin blankly. When she heard Lin Suhengren's expression, she felt a strange discomfort in her heart. She felt empty. Zhang Jin asked, "By the way, Xiao Meng, I also have something to ask you. Why are you so familiar with Lin Suhengren? Did you go to that kind of place to sing alone last week? And if I heard correctly, you just said that you have been observing Lin Suhengren for more than a year? And said that he would think when he was sleeping? Why were you there when he was sleeping? Do you mean that when I gave you a holiday, you were with Lin Suhengren?" Fang Meng saw that Zhang Jin was extremely curious, and suddenly laughed. "This is a long story. In fact, he and I are his childhood sweethearts." Zhang Jin opened her eyes wide. "What? You and him are also childhood sweethearts? How many childhood sweethearts does he have?" Fang Meng answered, but immediately asked her own question. "Just two, one is me and the other is the eldest lady. And this matter is very troublesome to talk about. I will tell you in detail tonight, but we haven't finished talking about what just now. Why did Lin Suhengren mention the word sleep to you, Kaianqian? Why did you misunderstand it as his confession? The most important thing is why did you agree?" Fang Meng said word by word. "You really like Lin Suhengren, don't you?" Zhang Jin was stunned. She looked at the ground and said shyly, "I don't know what love means." "I don't think so." Zhang Jin looked at Fang Meng again after she finished speaking. "But recently everyone in the class said that you are his girlfriend, and he told me that you are not. Xiao Meng, you should not like Lin Suhengren, right?" Fang Meng immediately waved her hands and replied, "Of course I don't like." She didn't say a word of like. All the scenes of Lin Suhengren and her being alone together during this period suddenly appeared in front of her. She couldn't even say the last word for a while, as if she couldn't tell what she thought of him. Fortunately, at this time Zhang Jin's cell phone rang, and Zhang Jin saw that it was the driver calling. Lin Suhengren couldn't listen anymore outside, because the following topic was obviously wrong, and walked in. "What are you two talking about?" If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 183 Inner Feelings. Zhang Jin and Fang Meng were startled by Lin Suhengren's voice, and each of them blushed in a different way. Zhang Jin picked up the phone. The driver said, "Second miss, I have delivered the clothes to the door. They are here with the guard." Zhang Jin responded, "I will go and get them now." After hanging up the phone, Zhang Jin stood up and looked at Lin Suhengren. Without answering his question, "I will go and get the clothes. You wait here for me for a while, okay?" "Go ahead." Lin Suhengren nodded. Zhang Jin left as if she was escaping. She really couldn't explain her specific feelings for Lin Suhengren. She only knew that it was curiosity, but curiosity is different from curiosity. As for whether she likes him or not, at least she definitely doesn't hate Lin Suhengren. After Zhang Jin left, Lin Suhengren looked at Fang Meng, who was still sitting there. Fang Meng hugged her upper body with one hand, pulled her torn pants with the other hand, and lowered her head slightly with a red face. This guy did answer. "Nothing to say, but what do you mean by saying that to Kaianqian?" Fang Meng paused and then said, "Kaianqian just told me that you said the word sleep to Kaianqian yesterday? Why did you say that to Kaianqian?" Lin Suhengren walked in front of her and squatted down to look at him. Fang Meng's heartbeat accelerated and she was confused. "Why are you so close to me?" Lin Suhengren explained, "I just vaguely heard what you talked about later, but what I mentioned to Zhang Jin was not going to bed, and didn't you bring up the word sleep first?" "I mentioned it first? When did I?" Fang Meng suddenly remembered that she said last week that she could agree to one of Lin Suhengren's requests. Except going to bed. Seeing her sudden realization, Lin Suhengren asked, "Understand?" At that time, Zhang Jin also said that she would agree to a request of mine. I thought our basic conditions were the same as yours, so I casually said that everything was fine except having sex. Then Zhang Jin misunderstood. and I had to explain it to her before she understood. Fang Meng murmured to herself, so that's how it is, I understand. Lin Zhengren stood up again. It's okay as long as you understand. Fang Meng understood, but she was still thinking in her heart, thinking that even if Lin Zhengren casually said that having sex was because of her, but it was also a request that could satisfy Lin Zhengren, and her basic condition was not to have sex, but Kaianqian didn't even have this basic condition. She was willing to date Lin Zhengren, and was willing to have sex with her later? Doesn't this mean that she has completely fallen in love with Lin Zhengren? After all, Kaianqian never liked to have much contact with boys since her personality changed drastically. In these years, countless boys have pursued Kaianqian, but Kaianqian didn't even look at them. But now facing Lin Zhengren, she can say try it. And the most important thing is that what Kaianqian said to herself just now is completely different from her private attitude towards Lin Zhengren in the first year of high school. At this moment, Fang Meng looked up and saw Lin Zhengren playing with his mobile phone. She suddenly realized what she was thinking. Kaianqian fell in love with Lin Zhengren. She felt a little hasty before, but now, after knowing Lin Zhengren for so long, he knew that Lin Zhengren was a very good person, excellent, gentle, honest, handsome and comprehensive. Kaianqian should have no problem falling in love with him. He should start to bless and even help Kaianqian. But Fang Meng pursed her red lips and stared at Lin Zhengren's slightly thin profile in confusion. She wondered why she was still not happy with Kaianqian and Lin Zhengren being together. Even deep in her heart, she seemed to not want Lin Zhengren to be with any girl. What kind of ideal was this? Was this jealousy? Did I really start to like him? Like the boy that Kaianqian liked? Lin Zhengren, who was looking at his mobile phone, noticed Fang Meng's gaze. Fang Meng was still staring at Lin Zhengren, with a dazed look in his eyes. Lin Zhengren, why are you looking at me? Fang Meng looked away, legs together, nothing. 2 minutes later, Zhang Jin returned to the sports warehouse with 2 new sets of clothes. Xiao Meng, the clothes are back, 2 sets. If they get torn again, they can be used as spares. She handed them to Fang Meng, who collected her thoughts and took the clothes and smiled. Thank you, Kaianqian, but it shouldn't get torn again. I'll change now. Both women looked at Lin Zhengren, who didn't leave. Lin Zhengren stretched out his hand. Give me back my coat. I'll wait for you outside. Fang Meng saw that she was still wearing his coat and responded, and Lin Zhengren took the initiative to turn around. Fang Meng blushed and took off her coat, handed it to Lin Zhengren, and said thank you again. Lin Zhengren raised his hand as a reply that you're welcome. Walked out of the sports warehouse. Fang Meng and Zhang Jin looked at each other, and laughed inexplicably after a conciliation. Who knew that Fang Meng was about to open the new clothes? Accompanied by a tearing sound. Her hand stopped, thinking that her clothes were torn again. Until Zhang Jin looked back, she found that her pants were also torn by the iron pieces of the cabinet in the sports warehouse. Although the hole was not as big as Fang Meng's, it did have a hole in the thigh, revealing the white and tender skin on her legs. Zhang Jin looked at the pants and wondered, is it true? Can clothes be caught in this place? Fang Meng couldn't help laughing and handed her another set. Fortunately Kaianqian brought 2 sets. You should change too. There are too many small iron pieces on the boxes here. It feels quite dangerous. Zhang Jin took the clothes. This is the only way. Outside the sports warehouse, Lin Zhengren was about to put on his coat. At this time, he saw that He Qing's class 3 had arrived at the playground at some point. The physical education teacher had already explained the physical test simulation to the team of class 3. The 3 children were discussing where Lin Zhengren had gone, because 2 classes had physical education classes today, but when they arrived at the playground, they didn't see Lin Zhengren. Han Wenwen, He Qing and Zhang Zuli went to class 1 to ask a few boys. Han Wenwen, where's the monitor of your class? Why isn't he here? The boys from class 1 sitting on the lawn. Monitor. I don't know. I just know that the monitor and Fang Meng seemed to have gone out to do something and never came back. He Qing frowned. With Fang Meng, Zhang Zuli looked at class 1, which was already free, and indeed did not see Fang Meng. The 3 girls became nervous. Han Wenwen also found something strange at this time. Where is Zhang Jin? Why isn't the deputy monitor of your class here either? The boys from class 1 shook their heads again. I don't know either. The 3 of them may be together. The deputy monitor has been with the monitor recently, and so has Fang Meng. Little He Qing looked around and finally found a familiar figure in the sports warehouse. When she turned around, smiled, found it, there. Lin Zhengren is there. Han Wenwen and Zhang Zuli looked over and were delighted to see him and immediately trotted to find him. At this moment, Lin Zhengren was getting dressed outside the warehouse. Seeing the three little guys running over, they were curious. Are you guys here so late? The third class is almost over, little He Qing said. The math teacher borrowed a class so he came down so late. Lin Zhengren, why are you here? Lin Zhengren, there was a little trouble, but it's solved now. Zhang Zuli's watery eyes were curious. Trouble? Han Wenwen's fox nose smelled something inexplicably. She moved closer to Lin Zhengren and moved her nose. There was the smell of another woman. Little He Qing was puzzled. What's wrong, Wenwen? What are you doing? Han Wenwen looked at Lin Zhengren in confusion after smelling something, and remembered the scene just now. Student Lin Zhengren, I saw you putting on clothes just now. Before she finished speaking, a girl's voice seemed to be heard from the sports warehouse. Little He Qing, Zhang Zuli, and Han Wenwen looked towards the warehouse door together. The three looked at each other and said in unison, Is there a girl inside? Lin Zhengren replied, Yes, it's Zhang Jin and Fang Meng. They are putting on clothes inside and will come out soon. The three were stunned at first, but then they remembered that Lin Zhengren was also putting on his coat at the door just now, and then they asked loudly, What? Putting on clothes? Lin Zhengren understood why the three of them were shocked and explained, It's not what you think. What are you three thinking? Chapter 184 Travel and Instant Noodles. After a while, Zhang Jin and Fang Meng came out of the warehouse. It seemed that it was the first time for the three girls to face Zhang Jin and Fang Meng so closely. The five girls looked at each other. The sixth senses of the girls collided with each other. In the distance, the monitor of Class 3 shouted to the statistics team, Hey, stop running around, the simulated physical test has begun. Everyone come over, Lin Zhengren said, Your class is going to have a physical test, I will accompany you. The three girls nodded in unison. Lin Zhengren turned around and asked Zhang Jin and the others, Is there anything else in our class? I will accompany the three of them. Zhang Jin shook her head slowly. No, the teacher has allowed everyone to move freely and do whatever they want. Lin Zhengren smiled and accompanied the three of them to see their simulated physical test performance. The three girls turned around and left with Lin Zhengren. Unlike the piano room in the first year of high school, this time Zhang Jin and Fang Meng looked at the figures of Lin Zhengren and the three girls. Zhang Jin's mood became more complicated. Even Fang Meng's mood fluctuated. Zhang Jin stared at the girl with ponytails among the three and asked, Is Lin Zhengren's girlfriend a sweet-looking girl? I remember her name is He Qing. Fang Meng shook her head. I'm not sure now. It seems that the girl with twin ponytails named Zhang Zuli also has a special relationship with Lin Zhengren, and there's also Han Wenwen. She and Lin Zhengren don't seem to be ordinarily familiar with each other. Zhang Jin's hands clenched slightly, her eyes staring at Lin Zhengren. No more words. During the physical test of Class 3, the boys and girls in Class 1 who were free to move also gathered together to see their physical test results. Lin Zhengren sat on the green lawn. Han Wenwen and He Qing sat beside him, sitting in the sun and admiring Zhang Zuli doing the standing long jump. He Qing hugged her bent knees and said with a little displeasure, Lily and I were planning to talk to you about that matter alone during pay class, but now we have missed a class and have to do the simulated physical test and we don't have time. Han Wenwen took He Qing's arm and said, Not only do we not have time, but Zhang Jin has also been added, and things have become more complicated. After they finished speaking, they both looked at Lin Zhengren. Even Zhang Zuli, who was preparing for the long jump, looked at Lin Zhengren jealously. Lin Zhengren said, It's not complicated. It's just a few things anyway. Since we can't talk to you alone during pay class, let's find another time. I'm with you all day anyway. By the way, the college entrance examination will be in 2 months. Do you three want to go traveling after the college entrance examination? Zhang Zuli, who was simulating the long jump in the distance, didn't jump well when she heard this. He Qing and Han Wenwen were even more excited, and their eyes widened. They spoke at the same time, very surprised. Travel. Zhang Zuli jumped again, wrote down the results and hurried over to find Lin Zhengren. Did I hear you right just now, Zhengren? Travel. You mean travel? Lin Zhengren hummed and looked at everyone. Since the second year of high school, the three of you have been busy with your own things while also studying hard. Even with my help, you will still be tired. Besides, I have never gone out to play with you. After graduating from high school, the pressure has been reduced, so I want to go out with you to relax. The three of them were very happy. Okay. We want to go. Where to? Lin's Hengren took out his mobile phone and found a few places to show them: grassland, deep mountains, seaside. Choose one of the three. Han Wenwen raised her hand. Deep mountains. Zhang Zuli sat next to Lin's Hengren. I want to go to the beach. He Qing whispered. I want to go to the grassland to have a look. The three people had different opinions, and Han Wenwen suggested, it's so fun in the deep mountains. There are a lot of mushrooms and small animals, even little foxes. There are also hot springs, little He Qing said. The grassland is also good. There are sheep, cows, and little rabbits. Zhang Zuli said in a playful voice. You can catch turtles and jellyfish at the beach, and there are also sea hares, sea sheep, manatees and seahorses in the sea. Han Wenwen frowned curiously. Sea sheep? What kind of creature is that? I haven't heard of it. It sounds so evil. Zhang Zuli, sea sheep is sea sheep. It's sea sheep. Don't you want to see the endless sea? Han Wenwen was confused. He Qing reacted and explained to Han Wenwen. Wenwen, Lily is talking about homophonic puns. Ocean means sea, 3 drops of water and a sheep. Han Wenwen suddenly realized, so that's it. I understand. I thought it was a creature. The 3 girls laughed together. After a brief discussion, the 3 looked at Lin's Hengren again, and in the end, the head of the family had the final say. Lin's Hengren asked, who of you will get me a piece of paper? Let's draw lots. Whoever draws the lot has the final say. If you don't draw the lot, it's okay. I will accompany you to the remaining 2 places after college. The 3 were surprised. Go to all 3 places. Lin's Hengren, well, since you all like it, then go to all of them. At most, there will be a sequence, He Qing said curtly. I'll go get a piece of paper. Wait a minute, He Qing asked the class committee for a piece of paper and tore it into 3 pieces. Lin's Hengren drew a horizontal line on one of the pieces of paper, crumpled it into a ball and mixed it together. 3 people each drew one. After Han Wenwen opened her note, her fox eyes widened. I caught it. Go to the mountains, Lin's Hengren. Since Han Wenwen caught it, then after the college entrance examination, we will go to the mountains and take a hot spring bath. That night, the lights of a 2-story villa in the city were bright. When Jiang Jin and Fang Meng got off the car, they saw that there was a Rolls-Royce parked in the yard, and they knew who had returned. Fang Meng stood behind Jiang Jin. The eldest lady is back. The driver who was wiping the car saw Jiang Jin and Fang Meng coming back, and greeted them politely. The second lady is back, and Miss Xiameng is back too? I heard that you asked for leave before. Fang Meng glanced at Jiang Jin and realized that she had said she was resigning, but Qianqian told everyone that she was asking for leave. Fang Meng smiled. I had something to do before, and now I'm back. The 2 opened the door and went into the villa. Jiang Jingshi was sitting on the sofa in the living room on the 1st floor. She was wearing pajamas and slippers, and her long hair was draped over her shoulders. Obviously she had just taken a shower. She was eating instant noodles slowly. Seeing Fang Meng coming back, Jiang Jingshi smiled with her red lips and asked gently, Xiao Meng is back? It seems that you 2 have reconciled? It's really fast. Fang Meng smiled and nodded. Good evening, miss. Jiang Jin walked past Jiang Jingshi. You don't seem to be very busy recently, and you come back more often than before. Jiang Jingshi stirred the instant noodles with a fork. After all, the college entrance examination is coming soon, and I don't have much to be busy alone. Many things can only wait until you take the college entrance examination. Jiang Jin walked to the 2nd floor and glanced at her sister. What does our college entrance examination have to do with you? Jiang Jingshi smiled, took another mouthful of noodles and said to herself, it has a lot to do. If you don't finish the college entrance examination, he won't be able to take time to go to the company. When Jiang Jin approached the room, she remembered what her sister said when she quarreled with Xiao Meng last time, and asked, by the way, who did you say you were with recently? No one answered, and looking at the 1st floor, Jiang Jingshi had already returned to the bedroom with instant noodles. It seemed that she came specifically to see how her sister and Fang Meng were getting along, and since they had reconciled, she, as a sister, was relieved. Fang Meng said beside Jiang Jin, the eldest lady just went back to her room. Jiang Jin frowned, and then asked, Xiao Meng, in the past year or so, have you felt that your sister has changed a little bit from before? Fang Meng was puzzled. Changes? Didn't you notice that she eats instant noodles more often than before? Fang Meng didn't expect her to say this, and nodded in agreement. That's right, she used to eat it once a month, and now sometimes she eats it 2 or 3 times a week, but that's nothing, right? Instant noodles are a special hobby of the eldest lady. Jiang Jin entered the room. It's really nothing, it's just that I feel greedy when I see her eating. Do you want to eat? Then I'll make 2 bowls of instant noodles now. Chapter 185. The college entrance examination is over. Go to the kitchen and find 2 buckets of instant noodles from the cabinet where instant noodles are stored. Feng Meng tore open the packaging and poured hot water on it. Put it on a plate and carry it to Jiang Jin's bedroom. Jiang Jin's bedroom is large but crowded. The huge dark black bed is surrounded by piles of books half a person's height. Layer upon layer. It is like a wall surrounding the bed in the bedroom, leaving only a large passage. But don't look at so many messy books placed around. Even the young maid who comes in every day to clean the house dare not move them. Some books that fell on the ground are not dared to be picked up. Because once the order of the books is disrupted, Jiang Jin may have to spend a lot of time to find them again. Feng Meng moved the table over and was curious, are there a lot more books in the bedroom recently than before? While eating instant noodles, Jiang Jin had already taken off her school clothes and put on comfortable black pajamas. She looked at the books around with cold eyes. If you are not here, others dare not move. Please help me take out all the books I have read later. She quickly pointed to about 40 books. Feng Meng wrote it down and nodded. Okay, I'll clean up after eating instant noodles later. Jiang Jin said expressionlessly, it's more convenient for you to be here. Sometimes when you tell others, they can't remember it. By the way, Xiao Meng, tell me in detail what happened between you and Lin Sihengren. She patted the bedside and motioned Feng Meng to sit down and talk slowly. Feng Meng sat on the bedside and began to describe how she met Lin Sihengren and observed him over the past year. Jiang Jin sighed, so that's how it is. So after I gave you a holiday, you kept going to see him? Feng Meng nodded. Let me tell you about my summary of observing him for more than a year. Feng Meng talked about many details. I observed that Lin Sihengren's schedule is not tight. He seems to do whatever he wants. Although he reads books when he has time, he is different from Qian who buries himself in thinking. That guy is really a genius through and through. Jiang Jin stared at Feng Meng, motionless, which means she was listening very seriously. Feng Meng, and he has a great body. Although I haven't seen him exercise, he has very strong muscles, and his muscle genes are very good, and his muscle shape is very beautiful. Jiang Jin's cheeks were slightly red as she clenched her hands. Well, continue, Feng Meng. In fact, there is not much difference between him and Qian in terms of study. The rest are all about life. Jiang Jin interrupted and said, just talk about the details of his life, such as what he likes to eat, what colors he likes to eat, what time he eats, what kind of toilet paper he likes to use when he goes to the bathroom, etc. Feng Meng was slightly stunned. She saw that Jiang Jin's curiosity about Lin Sihengren at this moment was really different from before. In the past, she was most concerned about how Lin Sihengren studied, but now, it is much more comprehensive than before. She took out a notebook from her pocket. Lin Sihengren likes to use a kind of toilet paper called Shufan in the supermarket. This kind of toilet paper is soft and does not hurt the skin. The last 2 months before the college entrance examination are extremely tight. It's almost a day chasing a day. Most high school students don't even have time to rest. Everyone has things to do. The 3 little Lin Sihengrens are no longer one person a week, but every Saturday and Sunday Lin Sihengren will let the 3 get together. They went to Lin Sihengren's house together and sat around a table in the bedroom to study. Lin Sihengren would act as an old teacher, either patrolling around the 3 of them or sitting opposite them to watch them answer questions. If they didn't understand something, the 3 little ones would raise their hands and ask. For example, Han Wenwen, as the vixen with the worst learning talent, raised her hand the most frequently. Teacher, I can't do this question. Lin Sihengren came to Han Wenwen and pointed at her. The little fox's drowsy head would suddenly have a light. I understand. Classmate Lin Sihengren is so amazing. Call the teacher. Han Wenwen smiled. Teacher. Then she continued to do the questions. Jiang Zuli raised her hand the second most frequently. Teacher Sihengren, continue to point at her. He Qing is the smartest in studying, but this guy always loses his nerves during important exams, such as the exam at the beginning of high school. The reason why Lin Sihengren thought she would be in the same class with Han Wenwen and Jiang Zuli is because of this problem. So during tutoring, Lin Sihengren didn't guide her too much in her studies, but would touch her head when she was troubled. Don't worry, just take your time to answer the questions. The same applies to the exam. You will know the answers to many questions. As long as you are not nervous, you will definitely perform exceptionally well. Seeing Lin Sihengren being so gentle, Xiao Heqing nodded shyly. saying timidly, "Okay, I understand." Teacher Lin Sehengren, Zhang Zuli and Han Wenwen were a little jealous while answering the questions. However, Lin Sehengren has been very fair to the three of them in the past few weeks. In terms of learning, he has made up for the weaknesses of the three little girls. I hope they can get satisfactory results. The door of the room opened, and the mother Lin Xiaoli came in with a fruit plate. Teacher Ranrun, the fruit plate is here. The naive mother likes to participate in the atmosphere. Lin Sehengren took it. "Give it to me." Lin Yingjin also came over to join in the fun and said, "Come on, you four." The three little ones responded together. 2 months later, the college entrance examination arrived as scheduled. The day of the college entrance examination was undoubtedly tense. There were a lot of parents of students at the school gate, and there was a banner on the road at the school gate that read, "No passage during the college entrance examination." Zhang Zuli's parents, Lin Yingjin, Lin Xiaoli, and even He Qing's mother came, standing at the crowded school gate. When entering the school, many children were encouraged by their parents. Although they were all polite words, such as not to be nervous and to express freely, it was better than nothing. Only Han Wenwen had no one to see her, but her uncle sent her a text message, "Heo is sick today and I can't go there. Good luck in the college entrance examination, Wenwen." Heo is the nickname of her uncle's son. After Han Wenwen replied to her uncle's blessing, she looked at Lin Sehengren who was walking over. The two looked at each other and came to an empty corner. The little fox hugged Lin Sehengren tightly, feeling a little aggrieved and nervous. In fact, she has been used to it for so many years. But Han Wenwen didn't feel anything when no one comforted her, but Lin Sehengren's hug sometimes made the little fox's subconscious sadness overflow. "Lin Sehengren, don't be nervous, do well in the exam, I'll be with you." Han Wenwen bit Lin Sehengren's neck. "I must do well in the exam, and then I will go to the same university as Brother Sehengren." The little fox stared at Lin Sehengren's eyes with a charming look, and the fox's eyes were full of admiration and heartbeat. He bit Lin Sehengren's neck again. In addition to checking the results, the most nervous time is always before the college entrance examination. Once the exam begins, the nervousness is reduced a lot. Sitting in the examination room, Lin Sehengren looked at the questions on the test paper that were extremely difficult for others. But for Lin Sehengren, they were extremely simple. In his eyes, it seemed that the answers were behind the questions. He filled them in casually. The college entrance examination ended inadvertently. Chapter 186, 5 Levels Up. Over the past year or so, you often encountered the princess's personal killer following you while traveling, silently observing your every word and action, and sometimes even serving you tea and water. At first, you thought that the other party wanted to assassinate you and was plotting against you, but later you found that this was not the case. The other party did not seem to have any hostility, and gradually you and this killer girl became more friendly. A month ago, you found that the princess of the imperial city and the killer girl did not talk to each other, and it seemed that there was some internal conflict. The killer was depressed and asked for your help. You asked the other party to promise you one thing in the future, and this thing will help you. The killer agreed to your request and told her about the old conflict between her and the princess. It was a large-scale war decades ago before the human empress ascended the throne. The princess had generously helped many friends and made many friends she thought were good friends. The killer organization that Fang Meng belonged to was also among them. However, when the palace was invaded by foreign enemies and was almost destroyed, no one helped except Fang Meng. This once became the princess's inner demon, and it was also the turning point that made her change from kind to cold and ruthless. After listening to you, you gave Fang Meng your opinion. The next day, the princess found you again and told you her opinion on the matter. She also offered to promise you one thing and wanted to seek your help. However, compared to the killer, the princess could promise you almost no limit to what she could do. She even promised to become your fairy partner and spend a wedding night with you in the future. With your help, the princess and the killer girl reconciled, and their friendship with you gradually deepened. Later, the three of you, together with Miss Zhang and the fairy demon girl of the demon cult, welcomed the demon tribe named Gaokao that was about to invade the imperial city. This demon tribe issued a war order more than 10 years ago, and this attack was so powerful that it would darken the sky. You watched as the millions of people in the city generously helped, and went outside the city with a few people to lead the imperial army to kill the enemy. Although the strength of the monsters this time was so terrifying, there were millions of monsters, and the cultivation of the monster tribe leader was even stronger than that of the princess. But you have been in the martial arts world for a long time, and one person is as powerful as 1,000,000 people. In order to protect the people, you led He Xiangzi and Zhang Xiaoxia to fight out of the siege. The princess and the killer Fang Meng also fought fiercely with the monsters. After several days of fighting, you stood on the ground covered with blood, in front of the people of the city. As the main force of the battle, you opened the gate of heaven, and the power of one person was like 1,000,000 soldiers, with great momentum. The monsters you killed had no power to fight back, and they were defeated again and again. After the fierce battle, you used a move of 100 steps to shoot the Yang sword to point at the head of the Monster King, and the whole city was shocked. Return triumphantly. After this battle, your name will spread throughout the entire spiritual continent, and leave a strong mark in the history of the spiritual continent. In this incident, you helped the princess reconcile with the killer, and obtained a large amount of resources for yourself, gaining 1 level, 3 physical strength, and 3 energy. You killed millions of monsters and intercepted the attack of the college entrance examination monster clan, gaining 4 spiritual power levels, 1 spiritual power attribute, 5 physical strength, and 5 energy. Your current attributes are: spiritual level is 66th level, Jiden stage, spiritual power control, level 2, you can use spiritual power to control objects, or you can walk on water to cross the river, physical strength, 97. The ability to break through the upper limit of lifespan, increase physical strength, and double cultivation has been unlocked, energy, 98. The ability to make your descendant strong and have sex 7 times a night has been unlocked, affinity with all things, level 2, you have an absolute talent for all things. At the same time, all the disciples you teach can be promoted, and those who sign the contract have a 3-fold improvement. The day after the college entrance examination, Lin Zhengren came to school and listened to the system chattering for most of the day. The values of various items increased rapidly. I didn't expect that the level would increase so much in a college entrance examination. And after the spiritual power control became level 2, Lin Zhengren was very curious about what the system meant by stepping on water to cross the river. Anyway, there was no time in the morning, so he asked the teacher for a short leave. He went to a small pool behind the school alone. Usually, there were basically no people here, and the camera couldn't capture this place. Lin Zhengren tried to step on the water with his feet, and he could step on the water surface as long as he focused. Walking like walking on flat ground. He sighed, it really seems more and more like cultivating immortals, but can it only step on water? Lin Zhengren looked back at the wall behind him. Curiously, he stepped on the wall with his feet and walked sideways to the roof. Sure enough, the soles of his feet could also be attached to the wall. A wild cat had been dozing in the grass of the school, and was stunned to see a human stepping on the wall diagonally. Stunned. After rubbing his eyes to confirm that he was not mistaken, his mouth even opened wider. What a terrifying upright ape that scares cats. The sound of the vibrating cell phone interrupted Lin Zhengren's shock on the wall. Because he was leaning against the wall, the vibrating cell phone even fell out of his pocket. Lin Zhengren grabbed it and saw that it was Jiang Jin calling. He picked it up. In the past 3 years, although the two of them were the monitor and the deputy monitor, in fact, except for face-to-face communication, Jiang Jin did not send many messages or make many calls to Lin Zhengren. Hello, the second young lady's originally cold voice became much softer when she spoke to Lin Zhengren. Although it still felt cold, it was much gentler than talking to others. Where have you been, class monitor? You haven't been back for such a long time. The teacher just said that he would come to a meeting later. Lin Zhengren, well, I just told the teacher that I would come out for a while. Jiang Jin was a little confused. And remembered the time when Lin Zhengren was sick. What's wrong with you? Are you feeling uncomfortable? Lin Zhengren came down from the wall. No, I'm fine. I'm going back now. Jiang Jin was relieved. Okay, then I'll wait for you in the classroom. Lin Zhengren put away his phone and returned to the classroom. Now that the college entrance examination was over, the state of all the students suddenly became very mysterious. Some were very nervous after the exam, some were relaxed, and some began to talk nonsense. Everyone was discussing the details of yesterday's exam and some messy things. Jiang Jin saw Lin Zhengren coming back, and there was a slight light in her eyes. After Lin Zhengren sat down, she took the initiative to ask, "How was your test yesterday?" Lin Zhengren smiled and said, "It's no different from the usual mock exams." Jiang Jin seemed to sigh, "You are really not nervous at all. I did well in the test this time. Let's see if I can surpass you when the results are released." It was the first time that Lin Hengren saw Jiang Jin take the initiative to say that she wanted to surpass herself. After a while, the head teacher came to the classroom with a smile and clapped his hands. Okay, students, be quiet. The exciting college entrance examination is finally over. We will not discuss the test results anymore. The teacher hopes that everyone can get the results they want. Today's meeting is to talk about the graduation ceremony. The graduation ceremony represents the end of 3 years of high school. The school stipulates that each class must have at least a few programs. Everyone is enthusiastic to participate. Later, the class monitor and the deputy class monitor will count the program list of our class. Finally, the teacher wishes everyone a bright future after graduating from high school. No matter whether you do well or not on the test, I hope everyone will have a smooth future. Amid the applause and laughter of the students, the head teacher smiled and said, okay, you can discuss the program, but keep your voice down. Chapter 187 Class Reunion. After the head teacher left, everyone was still discussing the program and chatting. The noise seemed to be quieter and more chaotic. Lin Hengren and Jiang Jin counted the programs that everyone wanted to sign up for. At this time, several girls asked curiously, Class Monitor, we heard that other classes are having class reunions. Why don't we have a reunion tonight? Invite the teacher to join us, a boy said. Yes, high school is over and other classes are having reunions. Does our class still have class funds? If so, it's just for the reunion. Everyone else, seeing that everyone was very willing, Lin Hengren smiled and nodded, it's okay to have a reunion. Then I'll ask everyone's opinions. There are indeed some unused class funds. I originally planned to distribute them. If everyone wants to have a reunion, then just use them for the reunion, the boys and girls cheered. Lin Hengren stood on the podium. Do you want to go to the reunion tonight? Raise your hands if you want to go to the reunion. I'll see the number of people. Everyone was actually very happy when they heard about the reunion. All raised their hands. Anyway, there was still a graduation ceremony and they couldn't leave. Everyone was still happy to have a meal together at this moment. Otherwise, once the ceremony was over, some people might never see each other again in this life. Lin Hengren smiled and said, okay, since everyone is willing to get together, why not get together this afternoon? There's still some class funds for the meal. If it's not enough, just consider it my treat. Before he finished speaking, Jiang Jin walked to the podium and said, I'll pay for the rest. I'll treat everyone to a meal, she whispered to Lin Hengren in a voice that only the two of them could hear. You don't have to pay. Just consider it my treat. The whole class thanked in unison. Thank you, class monitor and deputy class monitor. I wish you both good fortune and longevity. Feng Meng smiled below, thinking that it was a really outrageous blessing. She watched the two of them silently. After the party was finalized, Lin Hengren and Jiang Jin went to talk to the teacher about the meal. The head teacher was still very happy and actively participated when he heard about the meal. Okay, then wait until the teacher finishes today's work, and I'll have dinner with you tonight. The place for the meal was very simple. It was a large barbecue restaurant. There were 2 floors. And just like a bunch of people, Zhao Heking's class 3 is also having dinner here tonight, but not on the same floor. Lin Hengren found out about this when he called the 3 little ones in the afternoon. When he heard that both classes were going to have a party, he simply put them together. Lin Hengren's class is on the 2nd floor, and Zhao Heking's class is on the 1st floor. In the big private room on the 2nd floor where class 1 is located, many students were talking and laughing with the head teacher during dinner, and some were toasting like adults. They said that they would miss the teacher and everyone in the future and would come out to get together from time to time. Some girls even cried and had tears and snot. The head teacher smiled and asked everyone to try to drink less today, and the girls didn't drink if they could. Lin Hengren sat with Jiang Jin and Feng Meng. Lin Hengren drank beer, and the 2 girls originally drank fruit juice. When they saw that Lin Hengren opened a bottle of wine, they also opened a bottle. In a joyful atmosphere, Lin Hengren said, although I know you have money, you always pay the most for class fees. As the class monitor, you can't be the only one to pay for this party. I'll go with you, and the teacher just found me and said he must treat me, so I think we should just go together and stop pushing it back and forth. Jiang Jin looked at the head teacher in the distance, thinking that since Lin Hengren said so, she could only agree. Jiang Jin asked in a cold voice, are you going to sign up for the graduation ceremony? You and I will give the students representative speeches at that time. You should sign up for a program, But I see you haven't written it yet. Lin's Hengren glanced at Jiang Jin. I haven't decided what to sign up for yet, so you can sign up for anything when the time comes. Jiang Jin interrupted. Sign up for piano ensemble. I'll go with you, and I'll accompany you this time. Lin's Hengren didn't care about this kind of thing. That's fine. It just corresponds to before entering school. Jiang Jin smiled. Feng Meng looked at the two of them from the corner of his eyes, and took a sip of wine with a feeling of discomfort in his heart. Since Feng Meng and Jiang Jin reconciled a month ago, both Feng Meng and Jiang Jin have changed their attitude towards Lin's Hengren. Feng Meng had to admit that she began to care about Lin's Hengren. Although everyone was studying hard to prepare for the college entrance examination in the past 2 months, the two of them did not communicate much with Lin's Hengren, but when Feng Meng occasionally looked up in class, she no longer just looked at what He Qing was doing as before, but also looked at what Lin's Hengren was doing. She didn't quite understand when she started to care about Lin's Hengren. Maybe it was when she was singing in KTV, or maybe it was a long time ago, but she did start to care about him. Similarly, Jiang Jin was the same. After reconciling with Feng Meng carefully talked about Lin's Hengren's living habits and attitude towards life that night. Jiang Jin also completely understood the source of her curiosity about Lin's Hengren. In fact, she had thought about it some time ago. Lin's Hengren was like a stronger self, just like what Jiang Jin would look like when she grew up without experiencing that incident. Strong and confident, she will not doubt her own ability, and will not ignore everything in order to become stronger, even at the cost of sacrificing all her personal time. In fact, she really longs for this state. After all, Jiang Jin also thinks that she has not been happy since junior high school. She still hopes that she can be like when she was a child, and be herself without being bound by paranoia. Based on this idea, she was so curious about Lin's Hengren and his life trajectory. She wanted to win Lin's Hengren and prove that her change was right, but the reality is, she can't win him, and she has to admit that she even admires and envies Lin's Hengren's attitude towards life. Jiang Jin asked, have you decided on your major? Will you change it again? Lin's Hengren nodded, remembering the reason for their quarrel. You and Feng Meng should go to Stanford abroad after graduation, right? That school is very good and has great development potential. Jiang Jin did not nod, but took a sip of wine. She looked at the wine glass, thinking about something. Jiang Jin wanted to go to Stanford because it was the best school in the world to study finance, but now, she doesn't know whether it is right to go to that school. Is your monitor here? The door of the private room was opened, and a little fox's head poked in. Lin's Hengren saw that it was Han Wenwen, and smiled and stood up and walked over. Han Wenwen saw Lin's Hengren coming and hurried to greet him. The other two guys were also at the door. Lin's Hengren asked, why are the three of you here? Are you done with the party? The three girls shook their heads. Little He Qing said obediently, no, everyone was drinking and we didn't, so I thought I'd take some time to go upstairs and see what you were doing. Jiang Zuli was curious. Hengren, have you been drinking? Lin's Hengren, a little. Jiang Jin and Feng Meng saw Lin's Hengren and the three people chatting and laughing about something. The two girls had mixed feelings in their hearts. Another day passed, and the next day Lin's Hengren finished counting all the programs. When he was about to hand it over to the teacher, suddenly, a boy in the class found Lin's Hengren. Monitor. I don't know if you have time. I need your help with something. I like you, Lin's Hengren. Chapter 188. The second Mrs. Heartbeat. The boy's name is Yang Chengson, and he has always been in the middle of the class. Although he is not very outstanding, he is still handsome, but his personality is very shy. Because his name is a bit like a character in a film and television work that Lin's Hengren has seen before, he has a deep impression of him. Seeing his serious expression at this moment, Lin's Hengren blinked in surprise. What did you say? Jiang Chengson was stunned, and when he realized what he said, he quickly waved his hands. No. I was wrong. I didn't say I like the class monitor, I said I like a girl in our class, and I want to ask the class monitor's opinion. Lin's Hengren frowned. Ask for my opinion? Who do you like? Jiang Chengson looked around the corridor and saw that there was no one around, and whispered, Fan Momo from our class. I have liked her for a long time. Lin's Hengren looked at the information in his hand. I will give the program list to the teacher first, and come back to talk to you later. Okay. He handed the program list to the office. Lin's Hengren and he went to the door of the rooftop, but he didn't notice that Jiang Jin was also going upstairs and turned around to look. Because the door to the rooftop is locked, we can only sit at the door. Usually, No one comes here. Zhang Changxin sat on the steps and said, Fan Momo and I are classmates in junior high school. We met in the second year of junior high school. At that time, she had just broken up with her previous boyfriend and cried a lot at school. I went to comfort her, and then I fell in love with her. We have been friends over the years. I buy her some delicious food from time to time, and she sometimes gives me things, but that happens rarely. Lin Zhengren stood aside and asked curiously, how many times do you mean rarely? 2 or 3 times. After entering high school, she likes to eat those very expensive bananas very much. She said it was to practice her driving skills. He smiled. She likes driving very much? Sometimes she won't finish eating, so she will give me 2. Lin Zhengren, go on. Zhang Changxin was entangled. Well, isn't this high school graduation? I asked her about her college aspirations a few days ago, and I found that we both chose the same school. I was thinking, do you think she has a good impression of me? I want to take this opportunity to confess to her. Zhang Changxin looked up at Lin Zhengren. I know there are a lot of girls around the class monitor, he explained. I'm not saying that the monitor is a playboy, but there are indeed a lot of girls around you, and they are all incredibly beautiful, so I want to ask the monitor's opinion. Zhang Changxin had just finished speaking when a faint sound suddenly came from downstairs. Zhang Changxin was so scared that he quickly stood up nervously and looked down while holding the railing. Who's down there? Lin Zhengren and Zhang Changxin looked at the corner of the stairs on the next floor and found Zhang Jin standing there. Zhang Changxin was shocked. Deputy Monitor, Lin Zhengren, Zhang Jin. Zhang Jin's cold eyes were unchanged from usual, but she was actually a little embarrassed. I was just passing by, although I heard everything. When she went to the classroom just now, she saw Lin Zhengren and a boy secretly going to the corner. She didn't plan to come over, but then she thought, what if there was a fight? She could still help Lin Zhengren. So I came over to see what was going on, and then I heard it. Zhang Changxin was embarrassed. Did the deputy monitor hear it? Zhang Jin walked up. I heard it all. Lin Zhengren asked her, how could you pass by this place? Zhang Jin was a little embarrassed to tell the truth, but her voice was still cold. I was just taking a walk. I really heard it by accident. Sorry. Zhang Changxin waved his hand. It's okay. She looked at the boy. Can I tell you my opinion? Zhang Changxin sat down again with a conflicted expression. Well, of course you can. The vice class monitor is a girl, and girls should understand girls better. Zhang Jin stood next to Lin Zhengren. I personally strongly advise you not to confess to Fan Momo. You two have very different personalities. Fan Momo is quite lively in our class and gets along well with many people, but you don't like to talk at all. Although you two have been friends for many years, I think the chance that she likes you is slim. Zhang Changxin lowered his head and clenched his hands together. I think so. Zhang Jin asked Lin Zhengren, you have the same opinion, right? Lin Zhengren shook his head. No, that's not my opinion. I personally support Zhang Changxin to confess. After all, a small chance is still a chance. Zhang Jin was surprised. Zhang Changxin also raised his head, and said in surprise and nervousness, is that what the monitor thinks? You think it's better for me to confess? Lin Zhengren looked like he was analyzing seriously. Of course, high school graduation is the best opportunity to confess. If not now, when? How do you plan to confess? Zhang Changxin stood up and gestured with his hands. For example, make some candles and balloons, or find a park. I just wanted to ask the monitor's opinion. Fortunately, Zhang Zuli is not here, otherwise she would definitely feel very familiar. Lin Zhengren suggested, no need to go through so much trouble, just buy a bunch of flowers. Confession is mainly about the thought. Just find a quiet place with only the two of you to express your feelings. Is it that simple? Zhang Changxin wondered, but if we make it more formal, the success rate will be better, right? Lin Zhengren held up 2 fingers, then buy 2 bouquets of flowers, double the chance. Huh? It's decided. What about the date of the confession? Well, I want to wait until after the graduation ceremony, because won't I have to sing at the graduation party? I sang that song for her. Okay. Lin Zhengren patted him on the shoulder and said appreciatively, then I wish you success. Prepare well. Zhang Changxin nodded vigorously, full of confidence. Okay, no problem. After that, he looked at Zhang Jin. When Zhang Jin heard what Lin Zhengren said, she had to follow up with, then work hard, maybe it will work. Thank you, monitor and vice monitor. I wish you happiness in your love too. Zhang Jin looked dazed when she heard this, her face flushed. She looked down at the boy who was going downstairs. The boy took a few steps before realizing something. Am I remembering correctly? Some time ago the teacher said that the vice class monitor and the class monitor were lovers, right? Zhang Jin didn't say anything. After saying that, he smiled, waved his hand and left. The second lady turned around to secretly look at Lin Zhengren's reaction, but Lin Zhengren didn't care about rumors at all. After all, there have been many rumors about him since he was a child. The second young lady tried to calm down, and once she spoke to Lin Zhengren, her tone suddenly softened, no longer so cold. Why do you suggest that he confess? In my opinion, the probability of his failure is 99.9, almost zero, and it is difficult to succeed. Lin Zhengren looked at Zhang Jin and smiled helplessly. You can just say 100%. This is not a math problem. How can there be such an accurate probability? Then why? Lin Zhengren said casually. No reason. First of all, confessing is not a big deal in life. If you want to, just confess. Besides, since he came to me for consultation, it proves that he has been thinking about it for many days, even several months. Do you think he will not confess if I don't suggest him to confess? He will confess sooner or later, it's just a matter of time. It's better to confess now and know the result earlier than to pursue him for 2 years in college to know the result. Zhang Jin nodded. That's the truth, but for something that is bound to fail, we can actually tell him the result directly and let him not do it, right? Lin Zhengren added. You don't think he doesn't know he will fail, do you? Liking is not a 100% sure thing and there are risks. And when you said that just now, didn't he say as expected? Doesn't that mean he also knows the chances of success are slim? Zhang Jin was stunned. Lin Zhengren laughed. It's normal to win and lose when doing things. If you are always timid, you are not a boy. I admire his courage. After failure, the worst that can happen is that he can learn from experience and start over. Even if he will be sad after the breakup, he will get over it sooner or later. There will always be a day when he can successfully confess to the person he likes. You can't stop doing what you want to do just because you have failed, right? That will only bind you to this matter for the rest of your life and make you unhappy. Lin Zhengren brushed past Zhang Jin and walked down the balcony. He turned around and asked her, really? And you thought it was better for him not to confess at first, but didn't you support him later? Zhang Jin stared at Lin Zhengren's confident eyes. His eyes inexplicably reminded her of those things in elementary school, those things she had been avoiding. There was a faint smile on her face. Yes, but I was just following your advice at that time. What about now? Zhang Jin opened her red lips and said, you are right. I support him to confess his love now. Lin Zhengren also smiled and continued to go downstairs. Zhang Jin looked at Lin Zhengren's figure walking away. Her face was flushed. She covered her heart with one hand and grabbed her clothes on her chest. Her long eyelashes trembled, her eyes sparkled, and she said to herself, my heart is beating so fast, what's wrong with me? Chapter 189 Dopamine. In the class, Feng Meng was sitting in her seat, looking at the specific program arrangement for the day after tomorrow. After seeing Lin Zhengren return to the classroom, Zhang Jin also returned to the classroom soon. Feng Meng looked up to say hello and tell her about the program, but she found that Zhang Jin's face had a faint blush. Although her expression was still as cold as frost in the eyes of outsiders, Feng Meng, who was most familiar with her, could detect even a slight difference on Zhang Jin's face. Zhang Jin sat next to Lin Zhengren, glanced at Lin Zhengren, and shyly opened a book to read. It seemed that she was hiding some emotions. Qian, Feng Meng blinked twice. 2 days before the graduation ceremony, Zhang Jin and Feng Meng went home and accidentally met a female student carrying luggage. The suitcase was very large, and the other party seemed to be unable to move it up a large step. In the past, Zhang Jin basically didn't care about these things. Although it took some effort to move things, the other party would be able to lift it up sooner or later. She didn't need to waste her time to help, but today Feng Meng found Qian looking at the girl. After hesitating, Zhang Jin slowly walked over to the girl in Feng Meng's incredible gaze and said, do you need help? The girl didn't know Zhang Jin very well, but was shocked by her temperament and appearance. She said shyly, thank you, classmate, but my suitcase is very heavy, let me try. Zhang Jin often exercises, so it's not that difficult for ordinary girls to lift things. She easily helped the other person carry the suitcase up the stairs. The girl was very grateful to Zhang Jin. Classmate, you are so awesome. Thank you, thank you. By the way, I just have a lollipop in my pocket. Do you want to eat it? I'll give it to you. The other person handed a lollipop to Jiang Jin. Jiang Jin took the candy, and the other person said goodbye and left. Fang Meng, who was far away, reacted and walked over in surprise. Qian? Did you help her just now? What's wrong? She asked. Fang Meng blinked. Nothing, it's just that you usually. She couldn't tell clearly what Jiang Jin's expression was at the moment. Was it an expression similar to relief and missing someone? Jiang Jin glanced at the lollipop in her hand, and then looked at the girl who was leaving with her luggage in the distance. With a smile on her face, she did what she had always wanted to do so easily. At this moment, Jiang Jin suddenly began to wonder what she had been struggling with before, and what she was thinking in her heart. It was as if she had always been hiding a grudge in her heart, forcing herself to see everyone around her as ungrateful. It was like revenge on those people in her childhood. Now I think it's just that I was too young at that time, and I regarded everyone as a good person, and I had too high expectations of everyone. I was not taking revenge on others at all, I was just taking revenge on my previous kind self. Go home. Jiang Jin glanced at Xiao Meng and turned to walk out of the school. Fang Meng stared at Jiang Jin, who seemed to be still elegant and indifferent, but in a trance. She actually saw a little shadow of Qian when she was a child. Although there have been some changes, the kind Jiang Jin seems to be back. She doesn't know what happened specifically, but she can think of that only that person can change Qian. After all, only what he says can make Qian hear it from the heart. Fang Meng caught up with Jiang Jin with a smile. She was grateful in her heart. Thank you, classmate Lin Suhengren. That night, Jiang Jin was wearing pajamas and had a dream in her bedroom bed. In the dream, Jiang Jin was alone looking at her childhood self. Little Jiang Jin was lonely and sad. She was betrayed by her friends and hid in a corner crying. But an angel with 6 wings descended from the sky. The angel looked exactly like Lin Suhengren. The angel stroked the head of little Jiang Jin, comforted her and told her the right path. After saving each other, the angel looked at the big Jiang Jin standing in the dream, walked over and held Jiang Jin's hand. What's wrong? Why are you looking at me all the time? He asked. Jiang Jin looked at the other party with longing and said, I want to go with you. Take me with you. I will be your woman and give birth to 100 little angels for you. The angel smiled and nodded slowly. In the dream, Jiang Jin shyly lowered her head and was immediately hugged in his arms. Jiang Jin buried herself in his chest happily. Then Jiang Jin woke up from the bed. This young lady who had been cold and beautiful for nearly 10 years was now sitting on the bed in her pajamas shyly. She recalled the outrageous dream with her eyes blankly, one hand covering her mouth and the other hand grabbing her chest again. The strange feeling she had when she was with Lin Suhengren during the day came back again. And this time it was unusually clear and uncomfortable, and her heart kept pounding. The next morning, the sun was bright, and the graduation ceremony was the next day. But when Fang Meng came to wake Jiang Jin up this morning, she found that Jiang Jin was sick. Jiang Jin was lying on the bed alone, her face flushed, grabbing her heart. There was cold sweat on her forehead, as if she had a high fever and was very uncomfortable and painful. Fang Meng asked anxiously, What's wrong, Jiang Jin? Didn't you sleep last night? Jiang Jin shook her head, exhaling hot air from her mouth, her eyes blurred and frowning. I feel so uncomfortable in my heart, very uncomfortable, and my heartbeat is very fast. I'll call the doctor. Just hold on. Soon Jiang Jin's personal doctor received the call and took a car back to see Jiang Jin. After a check, it was found that there was nothing wrong. Fang Meng asked from the side, How is it, doctor? What happened to Qian? Jiang Jin was also a little scared. Am I okay? I feel so uncomfortable in my heart. The doctor looked at Jiang Jin's reaction in confusion, thinking, the second young lady's heart is indeed beating very fast, but I can't tell what the disease is. Has this happened before? Jiang Jin's forehead was sweating and her face was red as she shook her head. No, it's the first time I feel so uncomfortable. Let's go to the hospital and check it with professional equipment. Fang Meng was a little scared when she heard that she had to go to the hospital. Is it a serious disease? The doctor shook his head. It's hard to say, because I really don't see anything unusual. Only after the examination can we know the specific situation. Any situation may happen, but don't worry too much. The second young lady is so young and nothing will happen, so the driver quickly took Fang Meng, the doctor and Jiang Jin to the hospital. Even Jiang Jin she went to the hospital when she heard the news that her sister was sick. The hospital they went to was a very high-end private hospital. The cost was very high, but there was no need to wait in line, and the equipment was also very advanced. Jiang Jin was lying on a chair and was carefully examined from her internal organs to all parts of her body by professional instruments. Jiang Jingxi, who came hurriedly in a women's suit, stood beside the doctor with Fang Meng and was curious. When did it happen? Fang Meng said, it was this morning, and it happened suddenly. Jin Jin's face has been very red, as if she has a fever, and her heart beats very fast. Jiang Jingxi looked at the doctor nervously. How long will it take to get the results? The doctor looked at the instrument data. She will be fine soon. Soon Jiang Jin finished all the examinations. Fang Meng supported her, and the doctor frowned even more when looking at the various data. Jiang Jingxi asked, how is it? The doctor looked at the film and then at Jiang Jin's reaction at the moment. Why is the dopamine value so high? It's so exciting that it's uncomfortable. Such a high value will definitely increase the burden on the heart. Has the second young lady taken any medicine recently? Or has something happened? Tell me in detail what the second young lady has done recently. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 190 Love Sickness. Jiang Jingxi didn't quite understand. High dopamine, the doctor said very seriously. If dopamine is disordered, it may cause neurological disorders, but we need to try it out to see if it is true. He brought some instruments and asked the female nurse to stick them on Jiang Jin, and let her lie on the bed to observe her reactions at any time. The doctor himself sat by the bed, looking at a record sheet. Is it Miss Zia Meng who has been with the second young lady the most recently? Fang Meng nodded. Yes, I basically know everything about Qianqian. The doctor thought for a while. Then I will ask the second young lady about things. If there are any mistakes, you can supplement them. Remember to tell the truth. The two women nodded. The doctor asked, the second young lady has never had similar signs of heart discomfort before, right? Is this the first time today? Has your heart always been stable before? Jiang Jin lay on the instrument and shook her head. Actually, there have been a few times, but they were not as uncomfortable as today before, and they disappeared quickly. The doctor observed the instrument data. Oh? Can you remember which times? Speak slowly and in detail. Jiang Jin recalled. The most recent time was when a boy in our class liked a girl. The doctor continued to observe the instrument and found that there was not much change. Jiang Jin continued. Then, that boy came to our class monitor to consult about confession. I overheard it, so I put forward my opinion, but the monitor disagreed with me. She simply recounted what happened that day. Jiang Jingxi listened carefully. Fang Meng realized that this kind of thing had happened before. After the story was told, the doctor found something and wrote it down. What about the last time? Jiang Jin recalled. The last time I felt uncomfortable was when I quarreled with Xiao Meng. I didn't sleep well in those days. I kept waking up in the middle of the night and was not in good spirits. Could it be related to that time? The doctor looked at the instrument that was still stable and shook his head. It shouldn't be. Continue. Jiang Jin thought of Lin Sihengren again, and her heartbeat accelerated. Then because of the quarrel, I consulted our class monitor, and he told me that it would be better for me to talk to Xiao Meng directly. Your class monitor again? You have a good relationship with him? Jiang Jin paused. It's okay. The doctor observed the various data on the instrument. Jiang Jingxi didn't know much about medicine and didn't understand it very well, but Fang Meng found one thing. That is, every time Qianqian talked about Lin Sihengren, her heartbeat and some values increased significantly. The doctor also noticed this symptom, and he asked the others to leave first. Jiang Jingxi and Xiao Meng went out, leaving only the nurse, the doctor and Jiang Jin. The doctor put down the form. Okay, let's not talk about the past. Let me ask what your monitor's name is. Jiang Jin looked at the doctor, thinking of last night's dream, and clenched her fingers slightly. Lin Sihengren, what is your relationship with him? Classmate? Friend? Does the second young lady like her? Jiang Jin's blushing eyes were confused, and the numbers on the instrument suddenly started beeping. What does this have to do with the treatment? The doctor asked seriously again. Does the second young lady like him? Jiang Jin's eyes were downcast and hesitant. I don't know, I haven't thought about this question. The doctor whispered something to the nurse, and the nurse asked tentatively, Ms. Jiang Jin, I will describe a few scenes. You close your eyes and imagine it. Jiang Jin closed her eyes, but in fact she couldn't relax at all, and clenched her fists tightly. The nurse asked, imagine that in the early morning in an empty park, You and Mr. Lin Sehengren are walking alone together, can you imagine it? The doctor looked at the instrument data and turned off the sound. Zhang Jin nodded. Yes, I imagined it, the nurse asked again. Then he said he liked you, and then you two held hands, hugged each other and kissed passionately. The nurse paused for about half a minute after each sentence she said. Zhang Jin frowned, and gradually her heart became more and more uncomfortable. One hand slowly grabbed the clothes on her chest, and her heartbeat was very fast. The doctor gave a gesture. The nurse suddenly changed. Okay, relax, then imagine that there is no Mr. Lin Sehengren this time, but there is a blue sky, and there are Miss Xiaomeng and your sister in it. Yes, Zhang Jin calmed down. The nurse suddenly said, your family was having a picnic, and then your cell phone suddenly rang. It was Mr. Lin Sehengren calling you and saying that he wanted to break up with you, that he hated you, that he didn't like you, that he didn't want to see you again, and that you would never meet again. Zhang Jin closed her eyes and opened them suddenly while imagining. The doctor and the nurse were stunned. Zhang Jin frowned and turned her head. No, what do these things have to do with the illness? Why do you have to imagine such things? The doctor asked. Does your heart still feel uncomfortable now? I know that Miss Second may have emotional fluctuations because of the bad things I just said, but does your heart still feel uncomfortable? Zhang Jin blinked and covered her heart, shaking her head in surprise. It seems not so uncomfortable anymore. Much better, the doctor asked. When the nurse said the last sentence just now, Miss Second didn't imagine that kind of scene, right? Zhang Jin nodded coldly. I stopped thinking halfway, and couldn't think about it anymore. I don't think that kind of thing will happen, nurse. The doctor wrote something on it. Okay, Miss Second can sit up. I know the reason. He asked the nurse to help remove the testing equipment. The nurse suddenly smiled, helped to remove it and left. Zhang Jin sat up from the bed. Do you know the reason? What is the disease? The doctor smiled at first, and then explained seriously. Well, the second lady's nervous system is slightly different from that of ordinary people. Your perception of emotions is relatively low, that is, you will often be a little worse than ordinary people when you are sad or happy, but relatively speaking, your concentration on doing things will be very high, which is a very special physique. Zhang Jin nodded. The doctor said, but this time due to some special circumstances, the thing you paid too much attention to affected your emotional perception too much, causing some physical discomfort. This is the reason. Zhang Jin was puzzled. I didn't quite understand. Is it serious, doctor? To put it simply, you are a little love-brained, or you can say lovesick. Zhang Jin opened her mouth in confusion. What love-brain? Me. She pointed at herself. Doctor, I don't mean anything else. This is not a metaphor, it's the literal meaning. From the instrument, it can be seen that you have been paying too much attention to Mr. Lin Sehengren you just mentioned recently. Your concentration on doing things is different from ordinary people. In addition, you must have been missing him all the time recently. If there is a threshold for missing someone, then other people's missing of the other person is 5 points, and the remaining 5 points is for rest. You are 9 points, with only 1 point for rest. Missing him too much will leave your body no time to rest. I guess you are dreaming about this gentleman every day now? I even dreamed of some very happy things last night, which is why you are like this now. Zhang Jin didn't know what to say and her face turned red. The doctor asked, are you two going to be together recently? Or are you going to break up? Zhang Jin hesitated. Let's break up. He and I have different wishes, doctor. No wonder, this incident is the biggest fuse. In view of your situation, my suggestion is to rest more, relax more and divert your attention. Of course, it would be best if you can see each other more often. To put it bluntly, you miss each other too much, and your body has an uncomfortable reaction when you think about it. Zhang Jin pursed her lips, blushed, bowed her head and clenched her fists. She felt so embarrassed that she wanted to find a crack in the ground to crawl into. Chapter 191 The Same Disease. The doctor looked at the list in his hand and said, since this is the case, I won't prescribe medicine for the second young lady, right? Medicines are 3/4 toxic, and it's best if you can self-regulate. Zhang Jin opened her red lips slightly and said, prescribe? Just prescribe me some calcium tablets, but tear off the labels for me, and don't tell anyone about this, especially my sister and Xiaomeng. Of course, the other party also knew that this matter was a bit embarrassing for a girl. Okay, then I'll go find some medicine, please wait. After that, the doctor left. Outside the examination room, Zhang Jingshi stood with Fang Meng. Zhang Jingshi frowned anxiously and asked Fang Meng, who had studied some Chinese and Western medicine. The doctor just said that high dopamine can cause neurological disorders. Why does it sound so serious to me? Feng Meng recalled the data on the instrument when the doctor just checked, and she actually vaguely guessed something. It was just because they left the room too early, so they didn't dare to make a judgment on their own. Don't worry, miss, the doctor will be out soon. I think it should be fine. I can understand some of the data on the instrument just now. It definitely won't cause neurological disorders. Zhang Jingshi felt relieved when she heard this. Are you sure? Yes, it's definitely not that serious. The instrument data won't lie. The doctor opened the door and walked out. Feng Meng and Zhang Jingshi walked forward. Zhang Jingshi quickly asked, "How is my sister?" The doctor smiled, and everyone was relieved by his smile. It's nothing. It may be because the second young lady didn't rest much recently and was too tired. Her body is a little tired. I'll get her some medicine and she will be fine after a while, Zhang Jingshi asked in detail. Just tired? The doctor nodded. Yes, the mental fatigue and fast heart rate caused by excessive attention to certain things are not a disease. The last bit of nervousness was put down, and Feng Meng also breathed a sigh of relief. After saying thank you to the doctor went to get the calcium tablets. Zhang Jingshi and Feng Meng entered the room, and Jiang Jin also adjusted her mood and came out. Zhang Jingshi asked, "The doctor said that you are too tired recently? This is the first time you are tired and come to the hospital. I can't let you study in the room like this in the future." Jiang Jin was embarrassed, her cheeks flushed with shame, and she replied coldly, "It's nothing serious. I just paid too much attention to the college entrance examination recently and didn't have much rest. Once the college entrance examination is over, such things will not happen again. By the way, why are you here, sister? I received a call from Xiao Meng saying that you were in pain in your heart, so I immediately put down my work at the company and rushed here." Fortunately, it was a false alarm. Jiang Jin saw that her sister cared about her. Although the two sisters often quarreled at home, they were sisters after all. "Jiang Jin, I'm really fine. Sister, go back to the company and take some time off. I'll go home and take a rest." Jiang Jingshi nodded. "The doctor will give you some medicine later and you can go home. If you feel tired, you don't have to go to the graduation ceremony tomorrow." Before she finished speaking, Jiang Jin immediately retorted, "No, I want to go." There are not many occasions where she can stay with Lin Sehengren for a long time, but tomorrow she can not only perform with Lin Sehengren, but also give a speech together, and there is also the confession of that male classmate. It can be said that she will be with Lin Sehengren all day, so it is impossible not to go. Even if there is a zombie virus tomorrow or the world ends, she will fly a helicopter to attend this graduation ceremony. Seeing her sister's resolute expression, Zhang Jingshi didn't say anything else. However, she had a little doubt in her heart. When the doctor came, Zhang Jingshi asked the doctor, "My sister wants to attend the graduation ceremony tomorrow, should it be okay?" The doctor packed the medicine. "Of course, the best solution to love sickness is to meet in person. It's okay, it's better to go. It won't affect your daily life." Jiang Jin took the medicine from the doctor and left the hospital with Xiaomeng. She kept going, because this matter was too embarrassing. She couldn't stay here for a minute. Who would be hospitalized because of love sickness? She had to go home and rest quickly. If this got out, she would be ashamed to face people in her life. Jiang Jingshi looked at Jiang Jin's departure, but she didn't leave. Instead, she turned back to look at the doctor, who was puzzled. "What's wrong, Mr. Jiang? Do you have any questions?" Jiang Jingshi frowned and asked seriously, "What's the situation? Did you say that you should pay more attention to rest? Why did you just say that it would be better to go to the graduation ceremony? What exactly caused my sister's heart discomfort? You didn't tell me the truth just now, did you?" The doctor grinned awkwardly, seeing Jiang Jingshi's serious expression. She knew that if she used the general words just now, the other party would definitely be angry, and many people in this hospital knew that Jiang Jingshi invested in it. She was also one of the shareholders. But since she had promised the second lady not to tell it, she certainly couldn't tell it, so the doctor chose to let the nurse tell Jiang Jingshi the reason. What the nurse said could not be considered as what she said, and it was not considered a violation of the oath with the second lady. The nurse told Jiang Jingshi the whole story. Jiang Jingshi's serious expression gradually turned strange, and her pupils widened in shock. "Love sickness? Is this considered a disease?" The nurse nodded and said, "Yes, Miss Jiang Jin's concentration is stronger than that of ordinary people. and she has been missing the boy she likes too much recently, so this phenomenon today has occurred. Dopamine secretion will lead to excitement. The second lady must have had a dream or done something last night, which caused excessive dopamine secretion and made her heart uncomfortable. After pausing for half a minute, Jiang Jingshi suddenly laughed. She covered her lips with the back of her hand and couldn't help laughing. "My sister is so funny." The doctor laughed awkwardly. "First of all, I didn't tell you this, because I promised the second young lady not to tell you, and please don't say that I told you." Jiang Jingshi glanced at the other party, coughed, adjusted her state and put down her hand. "Don't worry, the nurse told me this and it has nothing to do with you. I said that what you said just now was wrong. So the solution to love sickness is to rest more. Well, but rest can only relieve love sickness. The best way is of course to meet in person. That's why I said it's better to go to the second young lady's graduation ceremony than not." Jiang Jingshi nodded. "I understand." The nurse handed a list to the doctor. After seeing the doctor, he was suddenly surprised. "Wait, Mr. Jiang, I just saw the list. You have an appointment with our doctor the day after tomorrow? What's wrong with you? Where do you feel uncomfortable? If you are free now, you can check it now." Jiang Jingshi responded and said, "I have not been sleeping well recently. I feel groggy during the day and always." She realized that she had been dreaming about Lin Zhengren a lot recently, because during the college entrance examination, Lin Zhengren had not been to the company for a while. Even if he went, he would just look at the documents and leave. He could not stay for long. In addition, on the day of the college entrance examination, Jiang Jingshi was late for a few minutes because of a company meeting, so she missed the meeting before the exam. This made Jiang Jingshi even more uncomfortable, and she couldn't sleep more and more in the past 2 days. Now I think about it, is this also lovesickness? I can't sleep well because I miss my brother Zhengren too much? Jiang Jingshi immediately stopped finding it funny and even looked embarrassed. "It's okay, I just may not have had enough rest recently," the doctor said. "If you have trouble sleeping, I'll take your pulse. If there are no other problems, how about I prescribe some Chinese medicine for you?" Jiang Jingshi nodded slowly. "Okay," the doctor said respectfully. "Please sit down." She sat on the stool and stretched out her arms, but she was thinking in her heart that as an older sister, she and her younger sister were lovesick for the same boy. This was too. Jiang Jingshi took a deep breath and seriously reminded the doctor, "Don't tell others about my poor rest, especially Qianqian and Xiameng." She looked at the nurse next to her, "And the same goes for this little nurse. Keep it a secret. Don't tell anyone about my affairs." The nurse and the doctor nodded one after another. Chapter 192: The Fox That Bites. After leaving the hospital, Jiang Jin and Fang Meng took a car back to the villa. In the bedroom, Jiang Jin took off her shoes, sat on her bed and took 2 so-called medicines. Fang Meng helped her cover herself with a quilt. Jin, don't go to school today. Have a good rest at home so that you can be in good condition for tomorrow's graduation ceremony." Jiang Jin nodded slightly and laid down slowly. Fang Meng gathered her scattered hair together and continued, "We are short of people for the scene arrangement of this graduation ceremony. I have to help Lin Zhengren to organize the scene. I have to go to school to take a look. Jin, please call me at any time if there is any situation." The second lady lay on her side on the bed and stared at Fang Meng. She knew this. "If Lin Zhengren asks me why I didn't go today after you get to school, just say that I'm busy. I will go there on time to rehearse the piano with him in the evening. If he doesn't ask, you don't have to worry about it, you will go there in the evening." Jiang Jin nodded again. "Since it is a piano ensemble, I have to rehearse with him at least a few times." In fact, Lin Zhengren had discussed it with Jiang Jin these 2 days. The two agreed to rehearse a few times the night before, and there was no need to rehearse during the day to waste time. Otherwise, if they rehearsed during the day, Jiang Jin would probably go to school to stay with him, not even a minute apart. Fang Meng, "Okay, I get it." Seeing Jiang Jin close her eyes, Fang Meng left the room and went to school. But after Fang Meng left, Jiang Jin's eyes were blurry in the quilt. She opened her eyes slightly again, remembering the reason the doctor just said in the hospital. Slowly biting her rosy lower lip, Lin Zhengren's various daily figures appeared in front of her. "Love sickness. It turns out that I have fallen in love with him." She covered her heart with her hands in the quilt. "It turns out that the feeling of liking someone is so uncomfortable. I want to be with him so much. I want him to hug me." The high school graduation ceremony stage location is the school's large gymnasium. Basically, all major programs will be modified and used by the school. Students from various classes who have registered for programs are now rehearsing in the backstage room of the gymnasium. Lin Zhengren is also here. As a student representative, he is responsible for observing and supervising all class programs this time. The interesting guy Han Wenwen is also here. At this moment, Lin Zhengren was sitting in the corner of the practice room. There were several rows of tables and chairs in the corner. This was where the judges for tomorrow's performance would sit. He looked up at the rehearsal area of Class 3. Han Wenwen was performing a tree that didn't move in a stage play of their class. Basically, it was done by just holding up a sign. During the rehearsal, the little fox looked at Lin Zhengren from time to time. Lin Zhengren looked at that guy with a smile, wondering how many times she had performed some inexplicable programs. It was not until the rehearsal of Class 3 was over that Han Wenwen came over to take a break, walked to the table, and supported the table with both hands. Teacher Lin Zhengren, what do you think of my performance just now? I saw that Teacher Lin Zhengren was looking at me just now. In public, this fox's performance was not so clingy. There was more of a strong smell of vixen in her words and deeds, and it was not wrong to say that it was the smell of green tea. Lin Zhengren looked at her standing in front of the table. You acted well, you were motionless like a piece of wood. Han Wenwen smiled and secretly stroked his back with her fingers. She sat beside him and tilted her head to look at him. That's a great compliment. After all, I acted as a tree. Being motionless means that the performance was very realistic. Lin Zhengren agreed. Indeed, the little fox looked at Lin Zhengren with seductive eyes while he was watching the performances of other classes. Because there was a table and some messy signs in front of the two people, even though there were many people rehearsing in the backstage room. But no one could see the movements under the table. Han Wenwen deliberately said, I'm sitting down. Why is Teacher Lin Zhengren not looking at me but looking at others? Lin Zhengren didn't even look at her and kicked her casually. Because the fox was actually under the table while talking, took off his shoes, and was gently rubbing Lin Zhengren's calves with his feet. After being kicked away, the little fox was unhappy and rubbed Lin Zhengren again. The smooth and delicate little feet made Lin Zhengren not know how to describe it. Lin Zhengren looked at the people in the backstage room and said, I said it would be better for you to rest in the dormitory or in the classroom. Why do you have to come to perform every time? Han Wenwen leaned back in her chair. Because I love performing shows deeply. Lin Zhengren looked at her. Seeing that the other party was looking at her, Han Wenwen couldn't help but smile and whispered. Her tone was even more ambiguous. The main thing is that I didn't come to perform the show. Why am I alone with Brother Zhengren in the backstage room? Look at how busy you have been these 2 days. Others have gone out to play after the college entrance examination, but Brother Zhengren has a lot of things to do these 2 days. Lin Zhengren, it's just these 2 days. After the graduation ceremony, it will be a complete holiday. I won't have time to accompany you guys then. He put his hand on Han Wenwen's leg, intending to stop her from rubbing her calf with her feet. But Han Wenwen smiled and secretly held Lin Zhengren's hand under the table. She fixed his hand on her leg and gently stroked it back and forth. She cried out in a voice that only the two of them could hear, Brother Zhengren, why are you touching my legs? Are you taking advantage of me? Lin Zhengren looked at her again. What are you trying to do today? Are you crazy? And there are so many people around. Han Wenwen blushed and whispered in his ear, girls will feel a little unbearable before their menstrual period. They want to be taken advantage of by Brother Zhengren. Lin Zhengren breathed out speechlessly. He used a little force with his hand, as if he was holding her thigh. Han Wenwen's face turned red all of a sudden, and she almost cried out. So she quickly covered her mouth and glared at Lin Zhengren with affection. She didn't dare let him touch her thigh again. Instead, she just held Lin Zhengren's hand under the table and held it with him. Han Wenwen snorted shyly and asked seriously, let's not beat around the bush with Brother Zhengren. What's going on between Fang Meng and Jiang Jin? It's just Brother Zhengren and I today. Why did you go singing with Fang Meng that day, and why did you say that she took care of your aunt? You have to explain it, right? Lin Zhengren looked at everyone who were still rehearsing backstage. Actually, this matter is very simple. Fang Meng and I were engaged when we were children, and she has often come to my house in the past year or so. Wait, Han Wenwen looked at Lin Zhengren blankly, frowning. That's a bit too much information. How come there's another childhood sweetheart? How many childhood sweethearts has Brother Zhengren had? It's endless, Lin Zhengren said casually. Actually, there are only two. One is Fang Meng and the other is Yang Jingxi. Two is not enough? Huh? The little fox opened her red lips slightly, and realized something again. Who is Brother Zhengren talking about? Jiang Jingshi? Wasn't your first childhood sweetheart Jiang Jin? Lin Zhengren looked at Han Wenwen's shocked expression. Why didn't I tell you? The childhood sweetheart my grandfather arranged for me was not Jiang Jin, but her sister Jiang Jingshi. Didn't I say before that I met her once at night because of Lily's music competition? Brother Zhengren did say that he met her once at night. Han Wenwen shook her head slowly. But Brother Zhengren definitely didn't tell you last time that you and her were childhood sweethearts. I may have forgotten other things, but I remember everything about Brother Zhengren clearly. After she finished speaking, she stared at Lin Zhengren angrily, and she was about to be jealous. So recently, when I didn't know, Brother Zhengren was kissing the other 3 girls. What do you mean by kissing? I have never done that kind of thing. 3 childhood sweethearts. That's not kissing. Your description is so wrong. The little fox bit her lips hard in anger, frowning slightly. I'm so angry that my stomach hurts. She let go of Lin Zhengren's hand and crawled under the table, biting Lin Zhengren's thigh fiercely. At this time, Feng Meng pushed open the door of the practice room and walked in. Seeing Lin Zhengren sitting there alone, his expression changed slightly, and he walked over slowly. Chapter 193, Adapting to Secretary Work in Advance. Student Lin Zhengren, I came a little late because of something at home. Is there anything else to do now? Feng Meng walked to the front of Lin Zhengren's desk. Lin Zhengren looked up at Feng Meng, and Han Wenwen also heard Feng Meng's voice. The little fox under the table was even more jealous, and continued to bite her thigh with a bloody mouth. Lin Zhengren helplessly felt that a certain fox wanted to be fierce but seemed reluctant to bite hard. He secretly covered Han Wenwen's mouth with one hand and said to Feng Meng, "It's nothing. I checked the stage layout in the morning. There are only some props left that have not been checked. I will check them in the afternoon." Lin Zhengren covered Han Wenwen's mouth because his pants were not so clean, and Han Wenwen didn't mind the dirtiness of biting them. As a result, Han Wenwen didn't care about these. She was jealous in the first place, and she heard Feng Meng talking to Lin Zhengren. No matter why Lin Zhengren covered his mouth, he would bite whatever he saw. He went directly under the table and bit Lin Zhengren's hand. Feng Meng, then I'll go check the props. I came late anyway, so I can't just do nothing. Lin Zhengren didn't refuse him, just thinking that after Feng Meng left, this fox would behave himself. Okay, then you go, Feng Meng hummed, but just as she was about to turn around, she heard a girl's voice coming from somewhere. She looked around in confusion. In fact, Han Wenwen under the table felt uncomfortable because the space was too crowded, so she knelt between Lin Zhengren's legs. Feng Meng looked at Lin Zhengren. Did classmate Lin Zhengren hear it just now? I think I heard a girl's voice, Lin Zhengren said seriously. No? I didn't hear it. Feng Meng looked around again, and indeed she didn't find anyone around, and there were many people in the practice room, so it was normal to hear all kinds of messy sounds wrong. She left to check the props of each class, but after she left, a message came from her mobile phone. It was from Jiang Jin. Xiao Meng, have you arrived at school? Did Lin Zhengren ask me why I didn't go? Feng Meng wondered if Qian was still asleep. Replied, I haven't asked yet. He just finished his work and probably doesn't care. Qian, aren't you going to rest yet? It's impossible to know what Jiang Jin's expression is at this moment from the text, but Feng Meng inexplicably feels that Qian is a little decadent. I know, I'll rest now. Jiang Jin in the villa looked lost after seeing the message. The slightly uncomfortable feeling in her heart came again. She said to herself, why didn't he ask me? He's so busy. At this moment in the practice room, while others were rehearsing, Lin Zhengren, who was sitting behind the table, looked down at Han Wenwen who was kneeling there, and whispered, what are you doing? Come out quickly. Han Wenwen looked up at Lin Zhengren, with jealousy still on her face, and answered irrelevantly, the space under the table is too small, and my feet are uncomfortable squatting. After that, several boys and girls from other classes came over. It seemed that they came to consult about the performance program. Lin Zhengren had to sit back and move his upper body closer to the table so that he could block Han Wenwen. Someone asked, Student Lin Zhengren, our class needs an extra kind of lighting when we perform. Can you arrange it when you see it? Lin Zhengren looked at the 3 or 5 people asking questions. He answered in a formal manner, but in fact he felt that Han Wenwen was starting to be dishonest again. The fox was not satisfied after chewing on his hand for a long time. When he looked up, he suddenly found an abyss. After staring for a while, His face suddenly turned red. She thought of the adult scenes in some novels or works she had read. In fact, Han Wenwen was still very curious about that kind of thing. She even imagined doing something inappropriate for children with Brothers Hengren before. But obviously it didn't work in today's scene, but there could be another way. She looked at Lin Suhengren's belly. Slowly moved her knees forward and lifted up Lin Suhengren's shirt a little. The little head got into Lin Suhengren's shirt. Opened its big mouth and bit Lin Suhengren's belly. Lin Suhengren was really impressed by this fox and barely dealt with those students who came to ask questions. After those people left, Lin Suhengren held Han Wenwen's head with one hand and warned him, "Aren't you afraid of being seen?" Han Wenwen leaned back with her fox eyes. "Why should I be afraid of such a high table? Besides, I will be Brothers Hengren's secretary in the future. It's normal for a female secretary to hide under the boss's desk." Lin Suhengren's forehead was sweaty. What does this guy usually look at? Soon, several more girls came over. This time, they were from Han Wenwen's class. "Lin Suhengren, have you seen Han Wenwen from our class? I saw that she seemed to come to see you just now, but now she is nowhere to be found." Lin Suhengren sat down again and was able to hold his head. "What's wrong? She did come to see me just now, but then she left again." "Oh," the girl blushed. In fact, many girls in high school secretly have a crush on Lin Suhengren. There are many girls, but most of them don't show it. It's nothing. We just finished rehearsing in the morning and plan to continue rehearsing in the afternoon. If I can't find her, I'll send her a message." Lin Suhengren nodded. "Okay, if I see her, I'll tell her too." "Thank you, Lin Suhengren." The girl from class 3 took out her mobile phone to send a message to Han Wenwen, and the sound of a mobile phone message dinged from under the table. Some heard it and some didn't. But fortunately, the others didn't think much about it. They didn't expect that there would be someone under the table at this moment, so they left while discussing the show and laughing. Lin Suhengren really couldn't stand it anymore, because this fox was gnawing at his stomach again. While no one was looking, he grabbed Han Wenwen's hand and pulled her out, taking her to the small utility room next door. There were a lot of messy things in the small utility room, but most of them were useless props and costumes, as well as some curtains and cloth strips. The space was only about 2 square meters. After Lin Suhengren pulled her in, he closed the door and knocked on her head. "You are getting more and more arrogant, right? I told you there are a lot of people in the practice room, and you made my stomach full of saliva." The small utility room was dark. Han Wenwen held her head in pain, but she didn't give in this time, pouting. "So what? This time I am right, and I am jealous because Brothers Hengren is unfaithful. You and He Qing are really good friends. Both of you are very brave, huh?" During the conversation, someone walked past the utility room. Seeing that Han Wenwen wanted to speak, Lin Suhengren quickly covered Han Wenwen's mouth and held her in his arms. "Shh, don't talk, there are people outside." Han Wenwen blushed at the hug, smelling the special smell that belonged to Lin Suhengren. With a light hum, she tilted her head slightly and asked in a low voice, "Brothers Hengren is getting more and more skilled in hugging girls now. He hugged me in his arms all of a sudden. It wasn't so natural before." After the people outside walked away, another group of people walked by. Lin Suhengren looked down at her. Han Wenwen looked up at him, and their faces were close. Han Wenwen was jealous at first, but when she saw Lin Suhengren staring at her, she inexplicably realized something. Her originally red face became even more shy. "What's wrong? Brothers Hengren is looking at me like this." Her hands slowly hugged Lin Suhengren's back, as if she knew what he was going to do. Lin Suhengren also hugged her waist and slowly moved his lips closer. Han Wenwen closed her eyes shyly and happily, tilted her head slightly and stood on tiptoe, and her red lips slowly opened. Chapter 194 First Kiss in Graduation Season. The heat from the red lips slowly hit Lin Suhengren's face. It was fragrant and hot. But when Lin Suhengren was about to put his lips on hers, he deliberately asked, "Are you not angry now?" Han Wenwen opened her fox eyes in confusion when she heard the other party speak. She didn't hear clearly. "Huh? What? I said you are not jealous now." She understood something by looking at Lin Suhengren's half-smile expression. The next moment, her face was like a red cherry, and her cheeks were still bulging. If there really was a fox tail, she would wish that all 9 tails would stand straight up now. Brothers Hengren is a big bad guy. Besides bullying people, it's still bullying. Before she finished speaking, Lin Suhengren unexpectedly hugged her waist and kissed her, and their lips pressed together. Han Wenwen's whole body seemed to have a flash of electricity. Her eyes, which were originally mixed with countless other emotions, became simple, and she stared at Lin Sehengren in a trance and dreamy. The warmth on her lips made her heart beat faster. Her hands tightly grasped Lin Sehengren's back again, and she was about to close her eyes and hum a little in response. But Lin Sehengren took it back after a kiss, because she was in a daze for too long. Are you still angry? Han Wenwen had no other emotions at the moment, and looked at Lin Sehengren reluctantly, with a blush on her face. It was not satisfying at all, and she hadn't even started to feel it. What are you angry about? Who is angry? I don't know, she asked in a coquettish voice. Did you just nibble and bite me? Han Wenwen's brain short-circuited. The fox shyly shook her head, but her eyes were always on the other party. How could I be angry with brothers Hengren? I was jealous. How could Wenwen dare to be angry with brothers Hengren? But those things are not important for the time being. I suddenly don't want to talk about those things. Let's talk about it another day. Her hand stroked Lin Sehengren's lips, and she seemed not to have come back to her senses. Was that brothers Hengren's first kiss just now? Have you kissed others before? Lin Sehengren shook his head. You are the first. The 9 invisible tails of the little fox swayed excitedly. Her hand kept stroking Lin Sehengren's lips, and she asked shyly and happily, you gave me the first kiss? But why did brothers Hengren kiss me? Brothers Hengren rarely took the initiative before. I thought you were just teasing me just now. She tiptoed slowly and silently. Lin Sehengren was puzzled. Not too little, right? But I was busy tutoring you before the college entrance examination, plus some other things, so I didn't have time to spend time with you alone. Now that you have graduated from high school, there are some things that you haven't done that you have to make up for. Han Wenwen's eyes were as charming as silk, and it seemed that tears could drip from her eyes. With a smile on her lips, is that so? But the kiss just now was a little sudden and I didn't feel it very much, and I didn't have time to stretch. Her face was red and she wanted to say something but stopped, and went straight to the point. Let's do it again. Let's do it again, okay? Hurry up. Lin Sehengren smiled and hugged Han Wenwen's waist again. The little fox held Lin Sehengren's shoulders with her hands in joy, and raised her toes again to actively move forward. As a result, because there were too many fabrics on the ground, her toes were raised too high and she couldn't stand for a while, and she also knocked down the fabric behind Lin Sehengren. The two of them fell backwards and fell on a pile of clothes in the utility room. Lin Sehengren was lying at the bottom. Han Wenwen lay on Lin Sehengren and fell heavily. Lin Sehengren was fine, but he was concerned about the other party. Are you okay, Wenwen? Han Wenwen uttered an ah and slowly got up from his arms and shook her head. It's okay. This warehouse is full of clothes and curtains. It doesn't hurt. After saying that, she didn't care whether she fell or not, just stared at Lin Sehengren's lips lying there. There was nothing else in her eyes. After a pause, Han Wenwen bit her lips shyly and was about to say something. At this time, Lin Sehengren's cell phone rang. The ringtone ruined the atmosphere a bit. Lin Sehengren took out his cell phone and took a look, but Han Wenwen inexplicably felt that she couldn't let Lin Sehengren see it, otherwise it would definitely disturb her. But she reacted too slowly, and Lin Sehengren had already seen it. It was Zhang Zuli calling. Lin Sehengren said, Lily called? I'll answer the phone first. Han Wenwen looked at him jealously and had to lie on his chest and wait for the call to finish. As a result, just as Lin Sehengren answered the phone, Han Wenwen's cell phone rang again. She quickly muted it to see who called. It was Zhao Heqing. Han Wenwen guessed something, so she had to sit up first, covering her lips while answering the phone with Lin Sehengren. Lin Sehengren was lying on the clothes and answered the phone and asked, Hello, Lily? What's wrong? Zhang Zuli, who was in the practice room, said, Sehengren, where are you? Aren't you in the practice room? He Qing and I came to find you, but we couldn't find you. We asked several people and no one knew where you went. Lin Sehengren was surprised. You and He Qing came, Zhang Zuli said proudly. Well, I've been here for a while. Mainly because I don't have classes now. He Qing and I are too bored, so we thought about coming together to see how everyone is rehearsing the show. Where are you? Isn't Han Wenwen also rehearsing here? She doesn't seem to be here either, and He Qing is calling her too. Lin Sehengren, who was lying on the clothes, looked at Han Wenwen, who was covering her mouth and answering the phone. She smiled helplessly. I'm going to take care of something with her, so you two wait for me there for a while. I'll be back soon. Zhang Zuli responded. Okay, I got it. We'll wait for you in the practice room. After Lin Sehengren finished the call, Han Wenwen also replied to Xiao He Qing with a smile. Yes, Lin Zhengren and I are busy with something outside, and we'll be back soon. Okay, then Xiao Qing, I'll hang up first. The little fox also hung up the phone. Han Wenwen let out a long sigh of displeasure. She had originally thought of kissing Lin Zhengren for half an hour or an hour, but now there was no time. Lin Zhengren sat up, He Qing and Lily came to see us, Han Wenwen hummed, and the two looked at each other. The little fox quickly sat on Lin Zhengren's lap again, holding his shoulders with both hands. I know they're coming to see us, but 1 minute, no, 3 minutes later, right? 3 minutes is not long, let them wait for a while. Lin Zhengren could feel the desire in Han Wenwen's eyes and the breath that kept coming out of her mouth. He smiled and looked at the little fox's red cheeks. Wenwen, your face is so red. Han Wenwen's eyes were full of flattery. Of course Wenwen will blush in front of Brother Zhengren. Her lips slowly moved closer tentatively. With her red lips open, she moved closer little by little, until she kissed Lin Zhengren's lips again. She closed her eyes and hummed slightly. Holding his neck, the two of them lay on the fabric behind them. Their lips and teeth intertwined. Brother Zhengren, you are mine. 5 minutes later, Xiao He Qing and Jiang Zuli in the practice room stood aside and watched the various classes still rehearsing their programs, and some were taking a break. Jiang Zuli asked casually, He Qing, I have always wanted to ask you a question. Does Han Wenwen not like boys? Little He Qing was very confused. Why do you think so? Jiang Zuli said, because I have known her for many years. The number of boys who have confessed to her is not 10 or 8. I estimate that there must be hundreds of them, but she doesn't like any of them. Don't you think it's strange? Little He Qing blinked her eyes innocently. It's not strange, because Wenwen has been like this since she was a child. She seems to have high standards for choosing boys, so she has never liked any of them. She was like this when I met her. She covered her lips and whispered, actually, I asked Wenwen this question before, but she told me clearly that she likes boys, not girls. Really? Jiang Zuli looked at everyone in the practice room. Then do you think she has a crush on Zhengren? I always feel that she treats Lin Zhengren differently from other boys. Ah. You said Wenwen likes Lin Zhengren. I'm just talking casually. She was helpless. After all, I always feel that girls all over the world are competing with us for boyfriends, and Zhengren is very fickle. Jiang Zuli smiled and looked towards the door. He Qing, look, they are back. Chapter 195 Post-College Plans. At the door of the practice room, Lin Zhengren and Han Wenwen walked in one after the other. When they were making out in the utility room just now, Han Wenwen didn't expect that 5 minutes would be so short. The original 3 minutes was too short, so Lin Zhengren kissed her for 2 more minutes, but Han Wenwen still felt unsatisfied. The feeling on her lips made her linger. She didn't expect kissing to be such a wonderful and comfortable thing. The moment their lips collided, her nerve seemed to melt with a kiss. If she had known earlier, she should have seduced Brother Zhengren earlier. However, because of this idea, Han Wenwen's face was still a little red even though she wanted to pretend to be the same as usual. Her legs were also a little weak. Lin Zhengren was more natural after entering the practice room, but the sweetness in Han Wenwen's mouth did still remain on the edge of her teeth. This fox still tastes very sweet. Lily, He Qing, you guys are here. Jiang Zuli came over first. Her tone was still very lively and mixed with a hint of arrogance. The classroom is too boring, so I came to see how everyone performs. What this means is that I didn't come here to find you on purpose. Lin Zhengren reached out and touched her head. Jiang Zuli's face flushed for a while, and she looked around. Sure enough, many girls were staring at this place, some envious and some jealous. Jiang Zuli was proud and shy, stammering, with her hands behind her back, there are so many people here. Zhengren, why are you touching my head? I'm not a child anymore. Han Wenwen was a little jealous, but she couldn't say anything. Little He Qing walked over slowly. She watched Lin Zhengren touching Jiang Zuli's head, although she was a little jealous in her heart, but her focus was more on the topic Jiang Zuli just talked about. Wenwen would have a crush on Lin Zhengren? Just now she thought it was impossible, because they had been together for so long. If Wenwen liked Lin Zhengren, she should have expressed it long ago. But on second thought, I felt that it was impossible because I had never thought about it before. Now if I think about it carefully, Wenwen seems to care about Lin Zhengren in some details. She even gets jealous when Zhengren is unfaithful, although she says it's to cater to the atmosphere. But if that's a lie, is it really possible? Wenwen has actually been secretly in love with Lin Zhengren. Little He Qing looked at Han Wenwen, who was not speaking but staring at Lin Zhengren and Jiang Zuli. Wenwen? Lin Zhengren, what did you do just now? Lin Zhengren replied, I went to deliver something to the teacher. I couldn't get it by myself, so I asked Han Wenwen to help me. The little fox couldn't say anything now. Still savoring the feeling just now, he pursed his lips, and felt itchy in his heart, afraid that if he said too much, he would be exposed. Little He Qing called out again, Wenwen. Han Wenwen, who was distracted, jumped. What's wrong? She replied to Little He Qing, smiling awkwardly. What's wrong? Zio King. Han Wenwen walked over and took Little He Qing's arm. Little He Qing smiled and shook her head. It's okay, I just saw you were a little dazed. Han Wenwen said in her ear, my menstrual period is coming, I'm waiting. Is that so? It seems that Wenwen's thing is coming soon. Han Wenwen smiled, but her eyes unconsciously looked at Lin Zhengren, who was stroking Jiang Zuli's head. Her eyes were full of jealousy, wondering why Brother Zhengren hasn't finished stroking yet. It's almost enough. Little He Qing was observing Han Wenwen's expression, looking at Wenwen and then at Lin Zhengren, thinking, is Wenwen staring at Lin Zhengren? After the four met and chatted for a while, Lin Zhengren took the three of them to sit down at the judge's table. He introduced, you three can sit here, the view here is wide, and it is also a chance to see the behind the scenes of various programs. Jiang Zuli sat on the right side of Lin Zhengren, and He Qing and Han Wenwen sat on the left. Jiang Zuli, who had twin ponytails, felt that the perspective of this place was indeed good. By the way, Zhengren, I thought of something these 2 days. You were a student's representative in high school, so will you become the president of the students' union after you go to college? After all, even in college, I don't think anyone can surpass you. You must be the president by then, right? Lin Zhengren knew what Jiang Zuli was thinking when he heard this. What do you want to do? You haven't been the discipline committee member in high school for the past few years because of singing practice. You are addicted, right? Jiang Zuli scratched her head and looked away with a red face. What do you mean by addicted? I think managing discipline is a very training job, and I heard that there are credits in college, and it can also help everyone maintain a good campus. How meaningful is it? I thought about it. If you are the president, I will be the director of the discipline inspection department. Little He Qing asked obediently, Lily wants to join the student union? But won't it be very busy if you join the student union? Jiang Zuli knew quite a lot. Normally, there must be a lot of activities, but if Zhengren is the president, then I will be busy with Zhengren, and if Zhengren is the chairman, he should have a big office. She opened her arms and gestured with her hands. When we have nothing to do, we can stay in there every day, and when there are activities, we will be with Zhengren. How wonderful. Little He Qing sighed. So that's the case, and said with a smile, I know this. I have seen an animation that is similar to what you said. Then I will also participate. She raised her hand. Han Wenwen took the initiative to narrow her fox eyes and said, then I will also participate. I will be the secretary of classmate Lin Zhengren. I remember that the University Students' Union has a secretariat, which is responsible for helping the president to organize materials and so on. Jiang Zuli was extremely excited about this and nodded. Okay. Then let's say it this way. If Zhengren is the president, everyone will participate. If not, no one will participate. Just like now. Little He Qing happily agreed, but at the same time, she also looked at Han Wenwen meaningfully. On the other side, in the props group, Feng Meng was still checking the various props that would be used tomorrow. She turned her head inadvertently to look at the judge's table. 3 girls were sitting with Lin Zhengren and chatting happily. There was an unspeakable discomfort in her eyes. The phone rang again at this time. It was sent by Jiang Jin again. Jiang Jin, did Lin Zhengren ask me why I didn't go? If not, forget it. Feng Meng thought to herself, this is the 3rd time Qian has asked me, right? Feng Meng replied, not yet, he is still busy. I will tell Qian when he asks. Jiang Jin, I know, it's normal that he didn't ask, it's normal, but in fact, the second lady in the villa buried half of her face in the pillow after seeing the message, very confused. Why didn't he ask me? Why didn't he ask me? Fortunately, it was before lunch in the morning. Everyone in the practice room had finished rehearsing, and Lin Zhengren also planned to go out of the school gate with the 3 little ones to eat something. At this time, Lin Zhengren saw Feng Meng was still counting props, and finally asked casually, by the way, Feng Meng, didn't Jiang Jin come today? Feng Meng blinked. Qian had something to do today and didn't come to school, but she said she would come on time in the evening to practice piano with you. Lin Zhengren smiled. I see, then you go to eat too. No matter how busy you are in the afternoon, there is no rush to count the props, okay? Fang Meng's cheeks blushed slightly. After Lin Zhengren left, Fang Meng took out her mobile phone and replied to Zhang Jin, Qianqian, he asked you, asking why you didn't come. When Zhang Jin in the villa saw the message, her heart was so excited that she almost jumped out. Really? How did he ask? What did you say? Tell me everything without making a single mistake. I guessed he would definitely ask. Chapter 196 Graduation and Confession. Fang Mengwan could feel Qianqian's excitement from the text. He sent the simple conversation just now to Zhang Jin word for word. Zhang Jin simply replied on WeChat, yeah, but in fact, the second young lady was already excited in the bedroom, hugging the pillow and daydreaming. He really asked me. After waiting for a whole morning, she was finally able to fall asleep and have a good rest, so that she could prepare for the piano practice with Lin Zhengren tonight. The afternoon passed quickly, and everyone was preparing for rehearsal very seriously. Han Wenwen also had to play the role of a tree with a few lines occasionally, so even though she was lingering on what happened in the morning, she had no time to be intimate with Lin Zhengren. Unknowingly, it was night. Tonight was full of stars. It was rare to have such a beautiful night, and the Milky Way was vast. Even Lin Zhengren stood outside the stadium and looked at the night sky unconsciously. So many stars. At the end of the dark road, Zhang Jin, who had long black hair and a good temperament, slowly walked over. Although the second young lady was excited to see her lover, she even took a bath, applied a facial mask, trimmed her eyebrows and cut her nails at home before coming. But her expression remained cold and indifferent, as if she didn't care about anything. Class monitor, I'm here. Lin Zhengren looked at Zhang Jin. You're here? Fang Meng said you have something to do today? In fact, if you are busy, I think it doesn't matter whether you practice or not. Anyway, I know your piano level very well. Just try it out tomorrow morning. Zhang Jin stopped in front of Lin Zhengren. Her heart was moved but her face was expressionless. After all, tomorrow is also the graduation ceremony. It would be bad if I don't pay too much attention. So even if I'm busy, I have to come and practice a few times. Lin Zhengren turned around. Really? Then let's go to the piano room. Zhang Jin nodded. She looked at Lin Zhengren when he turned around, and her face did not fluctuate. But she was feeling emotional in her heart. So handsome, he's so handsome when he turns around, so handsome from the side. He's so handsome when he walks, so handsome everywhere. Lin Zhengren took a few steps and saw that she didn't catch up, wondering, what's wrong? Let's go. Zhang Jin came back to her senses and responded coldly, okay, his voice is also nice. I really have fallen in love with him. Although I cared about it before, the feeling now is completely different. After entering the piano room, Lin Zhengren and Zhang Jin sat on two different pianos respectively. The practice process was no different from what I imagined. It was very smooth. Zhang Jin also felt that Lin Zhengren's piano level was still so good. Every time I listened to it, I felt that it was not at all like the level that a high school student could play. Lin Zhengren also sighed. You play better than before, and you have made progress. Zhang Jin stared at the piano. She felt warm in her heart after being praised, but her cold tone did not change. After all, you taught me some skills before, and I have been working hard to learn in the past 2 years. There must be some progress. Then let's practice a few more times. Another 10 minutes will be enough. Class monitor, I have something to ask you. Huh? Zhang Jin looked at the piano with a slightly red face. Before, you helped me reconcile with Xiaomeng, and I said I could agree to one of your requests, but we are about to go to college. Haven't you thought about this request yet? Lin Zhengren didn't really take this matter to heart. His idea was that if he needed it in the future, he would raise it. If not, he would leave it alone. After all, it always felt like a waste to make a request casually. Besides, he and Zhang Jingxi are partners now, and it's not like he won't see Zhang Jin in the future. But Zhang Jin didn't know what Lin Zhengren was thinking. She just added at this moment, any request is fine, as long as it is your request. I should be able to agree to anything. Just ask casually, including the kind of request you asked last time. Lin Zhengren, do you have to use it now? Use. Zhang Jin blushed and looked at him puzzled. Use what? Use me? Is this a way of confessing? If so, as your girlfriend, I can really be used by you at will. Lin Zhengren was stunned. How did it become a confession again? And what nonsense were you talking about just now? I mean, does this request have to be used now? Is there a deadline? Zhang Jin responded and shook her head. No, there is no deadline for this request. Linz Hengren stared at the piano again, his hands on the keys, then put it aside for now, because I haven't thought about it yet. I'll talk about it when I need it in the future. Anyway, it's not like we will never see each other again. He just said it casually, but Jiang Jin vaguely thought he meant that he didn't want to be separated from her. There was a faint redness in the cold eyes of the second lady. Slowly nodded, yeah, that's right, it's not like we won't see each other again. The piano sound continued in the piano room. In fact, Jiang Jin had never accompanied anyone since she was a child. She had always been a soloist. But only when she was with Linz Hengren, she suddenly didn't want to win him since the last time, and felt that it was also a wonderful thing to accompany him. After all, how could anyone in the world win over Linz Hengren? The second young lady felt that there was no such person at all. This man was the best man in the world, no one else. He was the first, and I was still the second young lady. The next day, the high school graduation ceremony was held as scheduled. Everyone wore formal clothes, took photos together, and lined up to enter the crowded stadium. The programs organized by each class were dazzling, one more exciting than the other. And Linz Hengren and Jiang Jin's piano accompaniment was the huge focus of the whole audience. After all, how many girls in the school had a crush on Linz Hengren, and how many boys had a crush on Jiang Jin was completely unknown. But Han Wenwu knew it just from the warm applause when Linz Hengren and Jiang Jin came on stage. Especially many sentimental girls, they even cried when they saw Linz Hengren. They cried with snot and tears. They cried because they would never see a boy like Linz Hengren who was versatile, handsome and existed in reality. After all, maybe many years later, when these girls graduate and work and get together with a few sisters, they might still talk about, let me tell you that there was a boy in our high school who was very handsome. I still remember his name. His name is Linz Hengren. Not only handsome but also versatile. I was just timid at the time, otherwise if I took the initiative to pursue him, maybe I would be with him now. If I could be reborn, I would definitely pursue him. At this moment, Linz Hengren and Jiang Jin were performing their show. Jiang Zuli and Xiao Heqing sat together, and they applauded while watching the cheers of the girls around them. Jiang Zuli sighed, Hengren and Jiang Jin are really popular. They weren't so exaggerated when they were in the first year of high school. In the past 3 years, their popularity has increased several times. Their popularity is completely different from that of other people's performances. Little He Qing put her hands together in front of her. She didn't pay much attention to other people. She just kept looking at Linz Hengren playing the piano. Just like when Linz Hengren participated in the competition when he was a child, she cheered for him in the audience. Today, she was still cheering silently, and kept saying in her heart, come on, Linz Hengren. Linz Hengren is so handsome, he plays so beautifully. Happy times always pass very quickly. The whole morning's performances and graduation ceremony ended quietly in the blink of an eye. After the graduation ceremony, the somewhat shy boy named Jiang Changxin finally found the girl he had been secretly in love with for a long time, Fan Momo, and confessed his love. Behind the bushes outside the stadium, Jiang Changxin took out the 2 bouquets of flowers that had been hidden there. She stammered the words of confession to the lively Fan Momo in front of her. Momo, I like you. I have liked you for many years. Can you be with me? The girl named Fan Momo was very surprised while eating a banana. She blushed and said shyly, Xiaozin, you actually confessed to me? I don't want to lie to you. I always treat you as my best friend. The person I like is our class monitor Linz Hengren. I have liked him since I entered high school, and I have liked him for 3 years. What? You like our class monitor? I thought you knew, because every time the class discussed that Linz Hengren had a girlfriend, I kept silent. I was jealous every time. I was planning to confess to him later. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 197 There are too many losers. Jiang Changxin didn't quite understand, but the monitor already has a girlfriend. Why do you still want to confess to him? Fan Momo said, why not? I just like the monitor. I even think about the monitor when I masturbate at night. He is so handsome. Jiang Changxin was stunned by her beauty. He knew that Fan Momo was lively and sometimes talked to herself, but he never thought that she would directly say who she was thinking about. Lin's Hengren saw Jiang Chengxin again after the graduation ceremony. He, Feng Meng, Zhang Jin and others were in the process of handling the follow-up scene. Lin's Hengren saw the other party walking over with 2 dejected roses. Jiang Chengxin, Lin's Hengren was curious. Squad monitor. He held the flowers and looked like he had lost his fighting spirit. I failed. Momo doesn't like me. She only treats me as an ordinary friend. Zhang Jin also came over at this time. Jiang Chengxin, you failed. Jiang Chengxin nodded helplessly. Zhang Jin was not surprised. What did you think afterwards? Do you plan to continue pursuing her or give up? Jiang Chengxin thought for a moment, glanced at Zhang Jin, and said in a roundabout way, give up. And monitor, I want to ask you something. Are you a pure love party? He asked Lin Hengren. Zhang Jin didn't expect Jiang Chengxin to ask Lin Hengren such a question, and she was a little curious. Lin Hengren didn't hesitate and said openly, of course, at least Lin Hengren himself thinks that he is a pure love party. After hearing this, Zhang Jin thought he was so handsome when he said this. Jiang Chengxin sighed when he heard the answer, I understand. It seems that Momo and I are the same. We like people we can never get. Some relationships may not be suitable from the beginning. Zhang Jin was curious, does Fan Momo have a boy he likes? Jiang Chengxin sighed, thinking that the deputy monitor was here and he certainly couldn't say that Momo likes the monitor. He looked at Lin Hengren, yes, but I can't say who it is. Lin Hengren patted his shoulder, don't be discouraged, sooner or later you will find someone who likes you. Jiang Chengxin looked up at Lin Hengren, staring at Lin Hengren's confident eyes. Because his charm value is far beyond that of ordinary people, Jiang Chengxin suddenly blushed at this moment. Squad leader, you are really handsome. If I am a girl in the next life, I also want to be your woman and give birth to children for you. Several children. Feng Meng almost spit out water while drinking it. Zhang Jin's eyes showed a hidden murderous intent. What did you say? Lin Hengren said seriously, then you should continue to be a boy in your next life. If you become a girl, we won't know each other anymore. Jiang Chengxin blushed and lowered his head slightly. He took a deep breath and was inspired by Lin Hengren's eyes. But you are right, squad leader. Sooner or later, I will find a girl who likes me. I will work hard after college. After that, Jiang Chengxin left and said goodbye to Lin Hengren and Zhang Jin. Before leaving, he also wished Lin Hengren and Zhang Jin to continue to love each other forever. Zhang Jin blushed again. She said, but this boy's personality is really like a girl, and he is very shy when he speaks. Lin Hengren said, yes, a little bit, but some girls like this. Although shy, they still have the courage to accept failure. It's pretty handsome, he said to Zhang Jin. Then let's continue to clean up the venue? The sooner we finish, the sooner we will finish. Zhang Jin nodded. A few minutes passed. When Lin Hengren was taking his things to throw away the garbage outside, he suddenly saw a girl in a short skirt who was very lively in the class shyly walking towards him in the corner. It was Fan Momo, the first love that Jiang Chengxin had just confessed to. Lin Hengren was puzzled. Fan Momo walked in front of Lin Hengren, a little embarrassed. Class monitor, do you have time? I want to talk to you. There is still time for a few words. Just say it directly. Fan Momo thought that there was no one here now, so it would be okay to say it directly. But she didn't see that Zhang Jin also came out from the door in the distance and saw the two of them. Fan Momo took a deep breath, looked at Lin Hengren and said to himself, Class monitor, I like you. I have liked you for a long time, and I want to be your girlfriend. I wonder if you are willing. Zhang Jin in the distance was surprised and her pupils widened. However, Lin Hengren seemed to have guessed something a long time ago. When Jiang Chengxin said those inexplicable words just now, he vaguely guessed something, but he didn't expect it to be true. I'm sorry, I don't like you. Why? Am I not beautiful? Don't I have a good figure? She didn't expect to be rejected so straightforwardly, and even Lin Hengren's face didn't fluctuate at all. There is no reason. Whether you are beautiful or not, I don't like you. Fan Momo had tears in his eyes and covered his chest with one hand. He didn't seem to expect that he would be so helpless. He said anxiously, Is it because I'm not a virgin? Why don't you like me? At this time, he didn't speak yet, and Zhang Jin suddenly came out. Why are you pestering me? Since confession will fail, just leave if it fails. What's the point of saying these things? Fan Momo was a little confused when he saw Zhang Jin. Deputy Monitor Zhang Jin walked to Lin Hengren, saying that kind of thing in a servile way will only make boys care less about you. If a girl wants to get a boy she likes, it's the same as a boy chasing a girl. There is no other choice but to become better. Leave here, Fan Momo frowned, but, before she finished speaking, Zhang Jin suddenly stood on tiptoe to hold Lin Suhengren's arm, and kissed him lightly on the face with her red lips. After the kiss, Zhang Jin's expression was still as cold as ice, but Fan Momo opened his eyes wide in surprise, and Lin Suhengren was also a little surprised. Zhang Jin looked at Fan Momo and said, I said that only by making yourself better can you get the person you like, not by servilely asking for the other party's consent. Doing so will only make you become less and less valuable. Although I don't know if you can listen to it. Fan Momo took 2 steps back, looking at Zhang Jin's powerful aura. He suddenly realized what kind of girls could stand next to the monitor, turned around and cried and ran away. After watching him leave, Zhang Jin thought of Lin Suhengren's comments on Zhang Changxin and said to herself, I kind of understand why Zhang Changxin might be liked by girls in the future. He is still a bit manly, although he is far inferior to the best Lin Suhengren in the world, he can't be any further away. At this moment, outside the stadium, there was no other sound. Zhang Jin turned around and looked at Lin Suhengren, who was also staring at Zhang Jin. Zhang Jin blinked her eyes, her face was already red, but she was still trying to remain cool. Just now, as a girl, I just couldn't stand Fan Momo being so humble. Girls shouldn't use pity to get love. I don't mean anything else. She took out a pack of tissues from her pocket and tore off a piece to wipe Lin Suhengren's face. I'm going back to the gym to continue my work. There are still many things to do. Goodbye. After that, Zhang Jin hurried away as if she was escaping. But as soon as she turned around, the second young lady's face was as red as a ripe peach. Biting her lower lip hard, her heart felt like it was about to jump to her throat. His face is so soft. So this is what it feels like to kiss him. I really want to kiss him again. My face feels so hot that I have to wash it with cold water. Chapter 198 A Kiss Confession Without Regrets. Lin Suhengren watched Zhang Jin leave quickly and touched his cheek. Puzzled, so what does not being able to bear it have to do with kissing me? He let out a long breath and returned to the gym. However, when he returned to the gym, Zhang Jin was gone. The second young lady had already run to the bathroom to wash her face frantically, and then found a random place outside the stadium to sit and stare blankly. She sat in a dignified and cold manner, but in her heart she was constantly recalling the moment when she kissed Lin Suhengren's cheek just now. Countless pink bubbles floated up and burst on her head. Lin Suhengren returned to the stadium and was busy for a while. Because everyone was in a hurry to go home, Lin Suhengren felt that some things were almost done, so he asked everyone to leave. In the end, only Fang Meng and Lin Suhengren were left in the stadium to deal with the last bit of work. Fang Meng counted all the items. All the props here are recorded, nothing is missing. Lin Suhengren hummed, looking at the list in his hand. Okay, now all the items have been counted. I'll check the doors and windows to see if there are any that have been forgotten to be locked. You can leave school, Fang Meng hummed, but she didn't plan to leave. Don't worry, it's just a few minutes anyway. I'll check the doors and windows with you. Lin Suhengren didn't care. Okay, all is fine, but she was curious. By the way, classmate Lin Suhengren, where is Qian? Why don't I see her? Lin Suhengren walked up the steps and looked at the windows around him. Did she leave? I haven't seen her 10 minutes ago. Fang Meng thought it was possible, but she should call Qian to be on the safe side. As a result, when she took out her mobile phone and was about to call, she looked at the empty gymnasium and only Lin Suhengren and herself hesitated for a moment. Finally, she put away her mobile phone and followed Lin Suhengren to check the doors and windows with him. Lin Suhengren asked, did you send her a message? No, but Qian probably just didn't know where she went. If she left, she would have sent me a message. I'll just call her later. Lin Suhengren closed a window that was not closed. Fang Meng looked back at the empty stadium and sighed. I graduated from high school without realizing it. It feels like the military training 3 years ago just happened yesterday. It's all over today. Lin Suhengren glanced at her and smiled. Time in high school goes by very quickly. After all, most of the time there's not much to remember except studying. But isn't it a little too late to sigh now that you're about to leave school? The college entrance examination has been over for several days. Fang Meng stared at the side of Lin Suhengren's face as he checked the window, and recalled the scene of Lin Suhengren singing in the KTV. I didn't feel emotional when I graduated before. Anyway, no matter what school I went to, whether in elementary school or junior high school, Qian would always be the first. and I would always be with Kyankian. I just didn't expect that everything would change in high school, and I would still miss her when I graduated, Feng Meng said sincerely. At first, I really didn't expect that Kyankian and I would become friends with you. At the beginning, I always thought that you were at most one of Kyankian's opponents in life. After winning, we would never have any contact again. Lin Zhengren smiled. I didn't expect it either. If, Feng Meng opened her red lips slightly and whispered, if the military training in high school comes again, I think Kyankian will definitely give you milk tea, and I will too, huh? The moment he turned his head. Feng Meng didn't know when she had come to Lin Zhengren's side, and one of her jade hands grabbed Lin Zhengren's sleeves. She raised her heels and kissed the right corner of Lin Zhengren's mouth with her eyes closed. After the kiss, Feng Meng slowly put her heels down with a red face. Staring at Lin Zhengren. Lin Zhengren wondered what this pair of besties were going to do today. Feng Meng smiled shyly. I don't mean anything else, I just want to kiss you. Isn't this what you should do after graduating from high school? No regrets. Not long after, Lin Zhengren locked the door and left the gymnasium. He sighed that so many things had happened in the past 2 days. He had only walked a few steps when he saw Han Wenwen, Zhang Zuli and He Qing walking over together. Lin Zhengren was puzzled. Why are you three back again? Did I ask you to go back to the dormitory to pack up and wait after the ceremony? I will call you after I take them to clean up the gymnasium, Zhang Zuli said proudly. How can there be so many things to pack in the dormitory? The troublesome things were packed up a few days ago, little He Qing said timidly. We don't have much to do in the dormitory, so we thought of coming to help you. Han Wenwen took little He Qing's arm and smiled with her head tilted. She didn't say anything, but her eyes were meaningful. Lin Zhengren was helpless. Why do we need your help? The teacher left a lot of people behind. Did they finish cleaning up in less than 20 minutes? But as long as you finish your things, it's okay. I'll return the key to the gymnasium to the teacher, and then we can go home, right? The three little ones responded in unison. Lin Zhengren took out his mobile phone and called the head teacher to tell him that he had finished his work in the gymnasium. Go and return the key. After returning the key, the four of them walked out of the school together. Once they left today, they would not come back even after the holiday. But on the way out, Han Wenwen suddenly moved her nose and looked at Lin Zhengren in confusion. Brother Zhengren seemed to have a lot of women's smell on him, and those two smells were very familiar. After Lin Zhengren left, Feng Meng, who was sitting in the corner outside the gymnasium with a red face, was also dazed for a while. She had just kissed Lin Zhengren in the gymnasium and left, her heart pounding. Suddenly, the phone rang, and Feng Meng took out her phone and saw that it was Jiang Jin calling. Feng Meng picked up the phone. Hello? Kyankian, where are you? After saying that, Jiang Jin suddenly appeared from the other side of the corner. Xiao Meng, I'm here. Feng Meng also looked at Jiang Jin in surprise. Kyankian. Why are you over there? I've been sitting here. I just called you and heard your phone ringing. It turned out that the two of them were hiding in the same place in a daze, just on the left and right sides of a corner. Feng Meng was shocked. Fortunately, she didn't have the habit of talking to herself. Otherwise, when she kissed Lin Zhengren just now, if she said something to herself, Kyankian might know about it. By the way, Jiang Jin and I actually like the same boy. How should we deal with this matter in the future? Jiang Jin stretched out her hand. Let's go home. I have something to discuss with you. Feng Meng also stretched out her hand and was pulled up by the other party. Really? Actually, there's something I want to discuss with Kyankian. The two besties looked at each other. Suddenly smiled at each other. It seemed that they all knew what was going on. After a brief discussion, Jiang Jin and Feng Meng also left the school. Jiang Jin called her parents. Hello, Dad? I have something to tell you. I don't want to go to Stanford for college. I won't make any progress if I go to that kind of school. Xiao Meng and I plan to go to other schools. Chapter 199 Jiang Jingshi's thoughts. On the third day after the graduation ceremony, outside the corridor of the office of the general manager of Jiangxi Company, Jiang Jingshi entered the password on the door and entered the office. She opened the window and ventilated Lin Zhengren's office as usual. Then she stood at the French window and looked at the huge city in front of her. 2 years ago, after a discussion with Lin Zhengren, the head office of Jiangxi Company was confirmed to be established in a 7-story building south of Zidong City. That is the place now. Because the company currently has only 3 branches, it cannot be called a group for the time being, and it is still called the head office. In the past 2 years, although Lin Zhengren did not come to the company every day to check and participate in various meetings due to limited time, but just occasionally coming to train the trainees of the 3 branches, the company's profit has increased by more than 10 times in the past 2 years. Compared with the original profit increase of 70% promised by Lin Zhengren, it is less than doubled, and it is not a little bit beyond. Even Zhang Jingxi did not expect the company to develop so rapidly, and it can even be described as a leap. Now the sports company has recruited many more trainees, and the number of formal employees is probably more than 6 or 7 times the previous one. The area of the branch office has also been expanding. Because there are fewer competitors in the sports market, and with Lin Zhengren, many students have made progress as soon as they come here, resulting in a reputation that spreads from 1 person to 10 to 100. Now many sports enthusiasts come to see what's going on. There are professionals and amateurs who pay membership fees to join. They spend money to come here just to listen to Lin Zhengren's lectures and exchange knowledge with other professional players. The so-called concentration of resources is like this. The better the place, the more people there are. As long as you can keep the spectators, the more people there are, the more money you will make. The more money you make, the better the place will be. It's a virtuous cycle. The same is true for the other 2 branches. The music company has made rapid progress in the past 2 years under the training of Lin Zhengren. Many peers are stunned by the rapid increase in the level of students like Jiangxi Music. Countless girl groups and independent singers have begun to gain fame on the internet or some programs, earning a lot of profits for the company. This does not involve Zhang Zuli, because Zhang Zuli has made too much money from music copyrights in the past 2 years. That is to say, in the live broadcast company, Lin Zhengren went less frequently because he was preparing for the college entrance examination at that time, but it also improved the level of many anchors and brought the company several times more profits. People outside the company don't know how Jiangxi company has achieved the feat of multiplying profits in just 2 years. But some senior leaders who are very familiar with Zhang Jingxi and know this boss who doesn't come often know that people really can't be judged by appearance. Every time the young boss comes, the company's profits for the next month will definitely increase, and everyone's bonuses will double. Boss Zhang will also be happy for several days. At this moment, in the general manager's office on the 7th floor, Zhang Jingxi is still looking downstairs, recalling the rapid development of the company in recent years. She is thinking that if it continues to grow at this momentum, it will not be long before the 3 industries of sports and music live broadcast in Zidong City will be monopolized by this company, and it will be a matter of time before it surpasses the Zhang Group. Brother Zhengren is really a rare treasure. It is her greatest luck to get him in the past few years. Although Zhang Jingxi wants not only Lin Zhengren's talent, but also his personality. There was a knock on the office door. It was Secretary Pan Lin, holding a document in her hand. Boss Zhang, the company's cash flow and income report for this month have been calculated. Zhang Jingxi responded and stretched out her hand. Pan Lin walked over and handed the report to Zhang Jingxi. Looking at the changes in Boss Zhang, whom she had followed for several years, she seemed to be wandering between happiness and longing every day. Zhang Jingxi, who was dressed in a lady's suit and had an elegant and gentle demeanor, simply flipped through the pages. This month's income has increased a lot. Pan Lin smiled. Compared to last month, the profit has increased by 20%, and this is when Mr. Lin has only been here for 3 days. If he had come for a few more days, the income would have been even higher. Recently, the city's focus has been on the college entrance examination, so it is normal for the profit from the entertainment industry to decrease a little. Zhang Jingxi smiled and said, he has been busy with the college entrance examination recently, so we can't disturb him too much. However, the company has developed too fast in the past 2 years, and the staff has been expanding. You will tell them to hold a meeting at 2 o'clock this afternoon. I want to talk to you about a company's system. There are too many new people recently, and I feel that many of the company's systems need to be further improved. Pan Lin nodded. Okay, I see. I'll send a notice later. In addition, Mr. Jiang's group seems to be expanding some projects recently, and they also asked you to go there for a few days of meetings next week. Zhang Jingxi seemed to be accustomed to it. I expected this a long time ago. Let's talk about next week's matters next week. You arrange your schedule for me. Pan Lin nodded, but said with some heartache, next week's schedule is full, but I can push the less important ones to later. Mr. Zhang, I have something personal to say, but I'm not sure if I can. Just say it frankly. You've been with me for many years. There's no need to be so distant, it's just that, you're too busy on both ends, and you don't have enough rest time. There's already a lot of things to do at Zhangxi Company, and the Zhang Group is calling you frequently. I think, the second young lady has finished a college entrance examination now, and it's time for her to take over some work. What do you think? Zhang Jingxi smiled, thought for a while and said, actually, I've thought about this a long time ago, and I think that after the college entrance examination, my father will hand over some important work to Qianqian without me saying anything, and Qianqian will even take the initiative to ask for it. My sister actually has a stronger sense of responsibility towards the family than I do. Panlin nodded happily. She knew that Mr. Zhang and her sister had a very good relationship and were not wary of each other, so she dared to talk about these things. That's great. Then Mr. Zhang can concentrate on Zhangxi Company and be much more relaxed. Zhang Jingxi became relaxed after hearing this, but her face was not so happy. She returned the report to Panlin and looked out the window again. Actually, there's nothing good about relaxing. There's nothing to do. Recently, I want to be more busy with work, Panlin said. You didn't like to drive around the city or go to the cat cafe you opened before. At least you can relax. Someone's figure seemed to emerge in Zhang Jingxi's gentle eyes. It was the past. Now, my heart is not on those things, and I don't feel like doing those things alone, let alone relaxing. Panlin knew what Zhang Jingxi wanted to do most now, or who she wanted to see most. Recently, Mr. Zhang was only happy when he was with him. Zhang Jingxi suddenly exhaled a breath of fragrance, holding the huge French window with her hand, thinking that it had been 3 days since the college entrance examination. Why hasn't Brother Zhangren come to the company to see it? He didn't call or anything. I wonder what he is doing now? Suddenly, a message sound from the mobile phone interrupted Zhang Jingxi's thoughts. In the past 3 days, she would quickly pick up her mobile phone to check every time she received a message. Most of them returned disappointed, but this time, her gentle eyes clearly saw that it was Lin Zhangren who sent the message. She was visibly happy. Panlin also guessed who the person who sent the message was from Zhang Jingxi's extremely happy face. Zhang Jingxi quickly clicked on the message to check, and it showed, Sister Zhang, I didn't call you because I was afraid you were busy. I saw the documents you sent me recently. I will go to the company the day after tomorrow to discuss those things with you then. Finish these tasks first. Zhang Jingxi quickly sent a message, okay, I'll wait for you in the company the day after tomorrow. After a few more brief sentences, Zhang Jingxi's face turned slightly red. She was suddenly full of energy and said to Panlin happily, Mr. Lin will come over the day after tomorrow. This afternoon's meeting will be moved forward to 12:30 and will start as soon as work starts. After the meeting, you can accompany me to the mall to buy 2 pieces of clothing and jewelry. I probably won't come to the company tomorrow as I have to prepare some things at home. Panlin was driven by Zhang Jingxi's excitement and was also happy. Mr. Lin will come over the day after tomorrow. Great, then I'll send out a meeting notice now. Go quickly. After Panlin left, Zhang Jingxi took her mobile phone to check the messages again. When looking at the city, she didn't feel much emotion anymore. She was just thinking about how she should dress up the day after tomorrow. It would be best if we could go out for dinner or something like that. Anyway, we couldn't let him leave so quickly. We had to keep him for a while longer. The day after tomorrow, then I have to wait another day before I can see you. I can't wait any longer. Chapter 200, The Impatient Little He Qing. On the other side, after Lin Zhangren and Zhang Jingxi had sent messages, they came out of the bathroom and sat on the bed in the bedroom. Just as he was about to take a nap, his cell phone rang again. On the day the graduation ceremony ended, only He Qing went back to her hometown in the south, but everyone had already agreed to travel. So before leaving, He Qing promised at the station that she would be back in a week. But I don't know what happened. This time, He Qing missed Lin Zhangren inexplicably. She missed him so much after only 2 days at home. Maybe it was because Fang Meng's matter was not explained clearly. Maybe it was because of other reasons. In short, He Qing couldn't sleep well at home these 2 days. She felt lonely in the bedroom and didn't have the energy to eat. He Qing's mother thought her daughter was worried about her college entrance examination results and told her not to be nervous. But He Qing replied, Mom, I miss Lin Zhangren. I want to see him. This made her mother laugh and cry. Didn't you just come back from the north? And you said you were going back a week later. Xiao Heqing lowered her head at home. That's right, but I just miss him. So this moment came. Lin's Hengren frequently received messages from He Qing. He Qing, Lin's Hengren, what are you doing? He Qing sent a picture. Lin's Hengren, I saw sticky bean curd at home at noon today, let me show you. My mother made it herself, do you want to eat it? If you do, I'll bring you some when I go back next week. He Qing, Lin's Hengren, why don't you reply to my message? What are you doing? Aren't you still asleep? He Qing, Lin's Hengren, I want to go to see you this week, okay. I don't want to go there next week, I can't wait. Lin's Hengren took out his mobile phone and saw this series of messages, so he simply didn't reply and called her directly. He Qing, who is in the bedroom in the south, was flattered at this moment. She sat up subconsciously on the bed and used her hands to mess with the broken hair at her temples. He answered the call nervously and carefully, hello? Lin's Hengren? Are you awake? Lin's Hengren leaned against the head of the bed and activated, what's wrong with you so early in the morning? Little He Qing blinked her innocent almond eyes, nothing, it's the same as before, I'm still me, really? Then do you know how many messages you have sent me in the past 3 days? Lin's Hengren swiped the screen, at least more than 40, and you sent me a message at 3 o'clock in the morning the day before yesterday, saying that you dreamed of a lot of rabbits. Little He Qing blushed, then I did dream about it and wanted to tell you, then what about those rabbits? I don't know how to reply to so many messages, just reply a few sentences. Anyway, I just want to chat with you, it doesn't matter what to talk about, but those rabbits are pretty miserable. In the dream, you turned into a big bad wolf, and all those rabbits were eaten by you. You are so cruel in the dream that I can't persuade you. Lin's Hengren, he lamented why he always seemed like a good person in this guy's dreams. Little He Qing curiously whispered, by the way, do we have to call? Can't we video call? You liked calling when you were a child, and I often couldn't see you, I could only hear your voice. Lin's Hengren didn't even realize that he had this habit. Don't mind, if you want, let's switch to video. Little He Qing was happy, okay. Then you hang up and I'll call you. You hang up, no, you hang up, I won't hang up. Lin's Hengren sat on the bed lazily, I'm too lazy to move, you hang up. Little He Qing looked at the phone helplessly and answered timidly, but I dare not hang up on you. I have never hung up on you since I was a child. I'm afraid you will be angry. Lin's Hengren puzzled, you haven't hung up on me? It seems to be true now. I remember a few times when I didn't hang up the phone and went to the bathroom and came back, the phone was still connected. Little He Qing smiled, that's the case. I'm not that brave to hang up on you, then you hang up this time. I'm not angry, he suggested. He Qing shook her head vigorously, although Lin's Hengren couldn't see her shaking her head at all. No, no. No girl would hang up the phone of a boy she likes. I can't do that kind of thing. Please hang up. I want to video chat with you. Don't tease me all the time. Lin's Hengren was silent. The phone was finally hung up. He Qing was stunned, then smiled and quickly called him on video. She curled up her legs on the bed and held the phone in her hands in a serious manner. Her face was sweet and cute. After the video call was connected, Little He Qing saw Lin's Hengren's helpless expression and suddenly couldn't help laughing out loud. Lin's Hengren, you still look the same as the day you left with me, there is no difference at all, and why do you have that expression? Lin's Hengren, you've made me speechless, and aren't you talking nonsense? We've only been apart for 3 days, of course I haven't changed. Little He Qing looked hard at Lin's Hengren's facial features, her eyes unwilling to leave his face for a second to look elsewhere. Surprised, only 3 days? It feels like a long time. Anyway, I miss you. Lin's Hengren carefully looked at He Qing's cute look, and felt a kind of naivety. I found that I wasn't so clingy when I was in school. Why is it like this every time I go home? It seems like when I was a child. Little He Qing shyly shook her head. I don't know, maybe it's because I can see you every day at school. Even if I can't see you for a while, I can see you when I want to, so I'm not afraid. But I can't see you in my hometown, and you and I are so far away, I feel panic. So, that's it. As she was talking, she pointed at a hair on the right side of Lin's Hengren. Lin's Hengren, there's a hair on your right side that seems to be standing up, push it down. Lin's Hengren smoothed his hair with his hand. Here, yeah, that's it. Okay, it looks much better now, although you've always been very beautiful. Little He Qing was very satisfied and added the last sentence. Lin's Hengren asked, you just said on WeChat that you plan to come over this week? Not until next week. Yeah, what day? Little He Qing lowered her voice, covered her mouth with one hand and said softly, "Actually, I wanted to go over today and give you a surprise, but I couldn't help but send you a message. I woke up very early today, at around 2 in the morning, and then secretly packed my luggage. Let me show you." Little He Qing turned around in her pajamas and showed Lin Zhengren the full suitcase beside the bed. She smiled and said, "It contains things for traveling, and the sticky rice dumplings I brought for you." She picked up a sticky rice dumpling from the plate on the bedside table, bit off half of it to show him the filling, and then ate it all up, mumbling, "My mother made it. If you like it, I'll learn from my mother and make it for you." "Oh, okay, I'll try it then, but you woke me up at 2 o'clock? That's not a whole night of sleep, right?" Little He Qing sipped the remaining sweetness of the sticky rice dumpling at a corner of her mouth. "I slept over last night, not that I didn't sleep, and I'm not sleepy. I'll take the bus later. Can you pick me up in the evening? Help me find a house to live in. You can just come in live at my house. Just like last time, I'll sleep in the study and you in my bedroom." Little He Qing suddenly blushed and shook her head softly. She was no longer the He Qing of her childhood, and she also had many adult ideas. "No, if I go, I will always disturb uncle and aunt, and I will occupy your bed, which is not good. This time I want to find a place in a hotel near your house. I will live there by myself, and if you are willing, in the evening," she stuttered, and almost said her secret thoughts, "you can come to play with me in the evening, play until any time. I will wash your feet and play games with you, or you can do anything you want. It's all. Anyway, I am already 18 years old." After she finished speaking, she bit her lips and the voice of the following words was smaller than a mosquito. It stands to reason that Lin Zhengren didn't hear it. But Lin Zhengren was not a normal person, and he couldn't help laughing, which made Xiao Heqing blush even more. "What did you say? I didn't hear the last 2 sentences clearly." She shook her head and looked at him secretly. "Nothing." Lin Zhengren thought for a while, "But staying in a hotel is also good. You don't have to stay at my house. Then I will pick you up at the station in the evening, and then accompany you to find a hotel." Little He Qing was as excited as a chicken pecking at rice. "Okay. My mother should be awake now. I will go to talk to my mother and take a bus to find you. Wait for me." End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.